Hello, hello.
Bonjour. The land we are standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations, Inuit and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that this land is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaties, signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Please stand for the playing of the national anthems. Bonjour. The land we are standing on today, and for the playing of the national anthems.
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
It's great to see so many young people in the room. I mean, I could feel the energy, the sense of compassion, the passion, the commitment and dedication in all of you to make a better life for yourself by getting educated in this wonderful country. We want you to do that, and we want you to become meaningful contributors to not only our society, but our economy as well. You are here. We want you here, and Canada needs you. My name is Ash Patel. I want to welcome you to the September 2022 edition of the International Student Information Session. I should tell you there's a lot of traffic, unusual traffic for a Wednesday, and that's why people are coming as we go, so please don't let them interrupt you. Your eyes are over here. The magic happens up here. The event is hosted by International Youth Canada, the result of the vision, motivation, and truly altruistic passion of Mr. Jaren Raj, who you'll hear from later on, and I'll acknowledge several other people that have worked on this as well. Jaren established International Youth because he observed that students need guidance and support before they arrive to Canada, during their studies, and during the settlement phase. And there will be a lot of resources, a lot of speakers today that will address that particular need. His need to help others in a meaningful way inspired many others to join the cause, including myself, and that's why I'm standing up here right now. Students from every country around the world would benefit from the activities of International Youth Canada, as Jaren will outline at the end of this session. Students being the focus of the movement, I want to thank Student Federation and council leaders from many institutions who are present with us today and also joining us online. So I should declare to you that there's hundreds, possibly a few thousand people who are actually watching this in a live stream, and it's also being recorded. I also want to thank all the presenters, the panelists, and the many volunteers who have worked hard to make this event happen. Their time and their dedication are truly appreciated. I cannot even begin to tell you how much we appreciate. We will award certificates to each at a later time. Now, the most important acknowledgement, of course, and gratitude goes to the Consulate General of India in Toronto. Their support since the inception of this is exemplary, this event, and the commitment to international students that they have is a model for other diplomatic missions to follow. And trust me, we've seen a lot of other work being done, but this is truly exemplary and a model for others to follow. Ms. Apurva Surastava and her team have been a pillar of support for the international student community and have a number of valuable support programs that are running for students, which they will outline. Now, the keynote, the most special person, is Ms. Apurva Surastava, the Consul General of India, Toronto. It's a great pleasure and honor to have you here. Right there, okay, good. Right. I'm sorry, in my mind, I thought you were sitting there, but my eyes just went, so thank you. Prior to being appointed at India's Consul General in Toronto, she worked with the Minister of External Affairs from January 2017 to August 2019. In her 19-year diplomatic career, she has served twice in the Indian Embassy in Paris from August 2003 to October 2006, and again from August 2012 and July 2015, and in the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu from June 2009 to August 2012. In the headquarters, she has served as Undersecretary of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation and as its Director of Administration. Consul General Ms. Surastava holds a Master's in Psychology from Lucknow University and is married to Mr. Anusham Gaur, a career diplomat, and she also has 2 daughters. Welcome to the event, Madam Consul General. Please join me on stage.
Good evening, namaskar. So, first of all, thank you so much for joining in such a large numbers, and I'm sure more people are coming in. It's always a pleasure for me to be in the company of students, this young people, a lot of enthusiasm. So thank you so much for joining. I also thank the colleges and universities for your active participation in this event. Of course, Jaren, Raj, and Prashant Srivastava for organizing this event, and all the volunteers that have been working tirelessly for such a long time. And you know, we have discussed about this event 2 years ago, and then COVID hit. But thankfully, you know, as my term is getting over, really thankful to Jaren for organizing it before I go, and it's really a pleasure to be here. I also want to thank SBI and CIBC Bank for partnering with us for the success of this event, IRCC and Toronto Police for their valued input that they would be giving, many organizations who will be speaking today. So thank you so much for being a part of this first ever international student event. And we plan to do it every year. This is the first edition. And definitely we will see a bigger and better versions in later years next year. So I'll give a little small presentation. You know, before giving an overall idea about what all facilities we do have for students, or what all things we do for students, just wanted to give a little backdrop of India-Canada relationship. Canada and India are strategic partners. We are natural partners. Canada is home to one of the largest Indian diaspora about 1.8 million people of Indian diaspora living in Canada. We have 700,000 Indian citizens with Indian passports as PRs living here, working here. And above all, the Indian students, 230,000 Indian students forming the largest chunk of international students in Canada, and the second largest international students population that we send out of India. So this is and I've been traveling all over from in my jurisdictions, from Winnipeg to Newfoundland and everywhere, from Thunder Bay to various places in Ontario, and I have seen and met so many students, and you know, there are places even in Thunder Bay. I went to colleges and there are like 3,000 Indian students there. So you guys have reached everywhere and doing all of us very proud, because you know, every university and college have nothing but praise for Indian students. So thank you for doing whatever you have been doing, working hard. So this, the Indian origin people have been doing extremely well here in Canada in all fields, be it business, political, cultural fields. I'll just give an example of politics. We have 3 ministers of Indian origin in federal government. We have 19 MPs in the Canadian Parliament, 5 MPPs in the Ontario Legislative Assembly. You know, and in business leaders, if you name people, they are always, you know, be it Fairfax, Prem Vatsa, and any other, whatever organization you take, there'll be some Indian in the leadership position. So we are doing extremely well here. Just to give a landscape of India-Canada trade partnership, it's approximately 10 billion Canadian dollars, which is nothing. I mean, if you look at the kind of trade relationship which we have with other countries, this is nothing, and there's a lot of scope for increasing it. But the biggest piece is, however, you know, we are already, you know, we are in discussions, India and Canada are in discussion with early progress trade agreement, which we plan to finalize by end of the year. And this will definitely increase the trade to a great level. The important piece is India-Canada Economic Partnership are the Canadian pension funds and institutional investors. In last 5 years, the Canadian investment in India has gone from 5 billion to 60 billion Canadian dollars. And so this is one of the greatest piece in Indo-Canada. And these investments have taken place during the COVID time, where there was no investment happening, almost little investment happening across the world. So this is a very important partnership, and these are some of the Canadian pension funds in India. In fact, Brookfield is the largest institutional investor of India, you know, across the world. So they have overtaken Blackstone from US. Of course, there are prominent Indian companies in Canada. You would like to, you know, take note of this for your future, for your internship, for your job later on. So these are some of the prominent Indian companies here in mostly all sectors. There are pharma, IT. There are banks, there are, you know, Aditya Birla Group is making, you know, making clothes. So all sorts of companies are here. Mahindra Tech Group, I recently visited Thunder Bay, and there's a Mahindra Tech company. So these are some of the Indian companies which are present here. Then there are prominent Canadian companies in India. Around 600 companies are established in India, 1,000 are doing business with India. In fact, McCain is one of the major ones. 1 in every 5 French fries in India is of McCain. So Sun Life is doing good. I mean, Linamar, they are all doing very well in India. Many of them have started their base here in India. Even the provincial governments now, for instance, Ontario has an office in India. New Brunswick is establishing 2 offices in India. OTTP, one of the pension funds, Ontario Teachers Pension Fund, has opened an office recently. They are still in India right now. CPPIB plans to open office in India. So there's a lot of movement in this, you know, India-Canada trade, not the investment corridor. Now, what we do as consulate. So before that, I want to specify what is our consular jurisdiction. As you know, we have one High Commission of India, which is based in Ottawa. We have our Consulate General in Toronto, and there is another Consulate General in Vancouver. So what our jurisdiction is Ontario, except K, I don't know, Quebec, except these codes starting with JHK. I have Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland and Labrador. So any consular applications of this area will come to CGI Toronto. So this is very important because many of the students don't know about it, and some send it to Vancouver, some send it to Ottawa. So this is very important, and it delays the process. Another thing which is very important is registration of Indian students. I'll request all of you to please register as soon as you arrive here or before arriving here on our website. Or if you go to our website, there's registration of Indian students and citizens right there. So please make sure that you register with us, and I'll tell you the importance of why very soon. There's also a website called Mother. This is basically for grievance redressal. So I'll request all of you to please register on this as well. So, once you register, it's very easy for us to find your contacts if there's an emergency or something, but definitely I will request you all to please register, tell your friends to please register with us as soon as possible. The services offered by the consulate is basically you can visit our website, but of course it's just passport renewal, damaged, lost passport, police clearance certificate, which is very important. You'll need this piece of paper for many things in Canada, for PR, for various things. So a driving license attestation, registration of death, transportation of ashes, transportation of mortal remains, and many other, when you become, if you become Canadian citizens, then a visa, OCI, all these services are a part of what consulate does. So any consular query, if you have, you can come to Sampark. It's a CGI Toronto. There's a tab on Sampark. So if you have any grievances, any query, you can always refer to us. Most of the consular services, passport, PCC, visa, OCI, and surrender certificates are surrendered through the outsourced agency BLS, and their website is also given here. But in case you are not satisfied, you can always write to us in Sampark. Only the attestation of the documents is done in the consulate. It's a walk-in service, 9:30 to 11:30 every day, every working day in the morning. You can come, you can just walk in, and we attest the same day. Also, emergency visas are processed at the consulate. Whenever, if there is an emergency, a death in the family or something, and you don't have a visa, we do it the same day. I have been here for 3 years, and it's the most unfortunate things I have heard and seen. There are a lot of, unfortunate deaths of Indian students here. And it's the most horrible thing, it's just to tell the parents and sending the mortal remains. So I just wanted to, from my experience, what are the causes of these deaths? One is driving, accidents. So many a times what happens that, it's a left-hand, right-hand drive difference. Also, it's during winters, there's a lot of accidents. When you drive, there's ice on the thing. And also, a lot of students don't put the seat belts when they are sitting behind. It's a very simple thing, but I have seen a lot of accidents happening because of that. And, if an accident happens, the people in the back without the seat belts are mostly affected. So please ensure that you tie the seat belt, follow all rules and regulations. During the summer season, the causes of deaths and accidents is drowning, which I found very surprising. But later on, I found out that there are several designated areas for you to take a plunge or take a bath in summers. And also, there's sometimes the water seems calm when you see it, but there's an undercurrent which you don't realize. So this is really unfortunate, but every month there's a couple of drowning deaths because of drowning. So this is, don't take it, you take it very seriously, that don't jump in undesignated places, because of course Canada is full of water bodies, but there are designated places, there are safety protocols. Please follow all of them before jumping in. Of course, there are few cases of suicide, so I'll request you to, do voluntary work. Please be connected to your families in India. Sometimes we get calls from India, from parents saying that, my child is not talking to me, and Indian parents, how are they? And if you don't call them twice a day, they are not satisfied. So sometimes it's okay, but please be connected to them, keep on sending messages and photographs to them. And I know, your parents would be really worried. Now, I also have to, call my mother once a day, so this is how Indian parents are. So please be connected to your family, and because once you are connected with your families, your mental health will be okay. There'll be people you can talk to, and there are so many community organizations here. For instance, if you are from Gujarat, there are a lot of Gujarati community organizations. Sometimes you want to be part of the festivals. So here in Toronto, in Ontario, and it's very fortunate that you have community organizations from all across India. So if you need any list from us, we'll be very happy to provide those lists if you need. But it's always get connected to that and enjoy your festivals. There are a couple of cases of stabbing, but nothing much can be done about that. But I'll request you to take care while driving and while going to near a water body, because there's way too many cases that has come to our notice. Another thing which we get complaint about is fraudulent calls. So there are fraudulent bank calls, there are fake job offers. Sometimes people say that I'm calling for RCMP, sometimes people say that, I'm calling for CRA, please deposit so much money. Please don't, don't believe all that, because any formal communication is normally through email, and nobody will ask you to deposit money, on phone. So please be careful, please talk to your university guidance office. Please go to your college guidance office. And I would like to tell here that, even during COVID and later on also, I've visited various colleges and universities, and the guidance provided by various colleges and universities has been exceptional, and all the students have been very happy with them. So any such call, please contact your guidance, and before taking any action on that. There was certain emergency situation, you don't know what to do apart from, if you want to contact us. This is an emergency contact number that we have. It's open, or you can write to welfare.toronto@mea.gov.in. So any emergency situation, please be connected to us. A checklist for overall well-being and good conduct. Of course, you guys are grown up, but still, stay focused on your studies. Don't work beyond the prescribed working hours, because we have seen sometimes that, you don't focus on your studies. Please focus on what you have come here to do. Keep your visas, permit, passports, travel documents valid and safe. Every day we have a couple of people coming to the consulate that they have lost the passports because they haven't kept it well, so please ensure that they are kept safely. Weather is very important, because the winters here are really harsh, and the clothes that you bring from India won't work. So definitely, please dress well. That's very important. Get yourself registered with the doctor. Stay connected with your families, and socialize responsibly, because there are many instances that come to our notice that people they fall in bad company, and then the focus is changed. We'll again request you to do voluntary services, bond with community, participate in local and Indian festivals. Please participate in the local Canadian festivals. That is very important. You have to integrate well. Try ice hockey, go for ice skating or whatever. So please do try to go into the local festivals and stay in constant touch with your family. And also, you know, learn to make your own food, because in India, as we all know that till you come here, most people don't know how to cook, or, you know, we are in the habit of getting everything done around us. So please, it's a major shock, major change for all the kids here, because in India, they don't have to do anything, and suddenly they have to study, they have to work, they have to, you know, cook their food, they have to clean the utensils. So I know it's a lot of pressure, but it's always good to, you know, be self-sufficient and be connected to everybody. So if you want to contact STUT, I have given you the emergency number. These are the, follow us on social media, because this is very important, because we keep on announcing what's happening. You'll get to know what's happening in India-Canada corridor, what are the events that's happening, what are the major organizations who do events, because we publicize those also. Visit our website, and if there is some queries which you have regarding their consular things, there is an open house on Wednesday, 3 to 4:30 p.m. every Wednesday. So you can just walk in, you don't need to register, you just walk in this thing. And thank you. So this is something from me, my side, and just want to wish all of you great academic sessions and your you know, great life ahead. And just to ensure that we are here, the consulate is here, we are your home away from home. Anything you need from us, we'll be very happy to provide. And I'm really also thankful to all the partners which we have here, present here today and not present here, who have been supporting you, the students, Indian students here who have been supporting you. And we'll be very happy to connect you with them. And also, if anything we can do, we are always here. We'll always remain your home away from home. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Apurvaji. That was very inspiring information. I mean, you can get information from a website, means one thing, but to hear it in your voice takes on a whole different meaning. Thank you. I think a lot of the information you provided today will be complemented by some of our community partners as well. They'll present later on for us. And I think we should all be proud of the work that India, of course, has done, the progress, but more so the work that they've done in conjunction with Canada, and also how Canada has benefited from that work. So thank you again for those wonderful words. Listen, I mean, word gets out about a group like this is starting from grassroots by students, and several politicians from all levels of government are paying attention, and maybe they're inspired by it as well. So I'd like you to hear from a few of those of our leaders.
Welcome to all participating in today's meet and greet event. It's a pleasure to have you all as international students studying in Ontario, the greatest province in the country. We're so proud of our thriving Indian community in this province, and we can't wait to see all the great things the next generation can achieve. Thank you to the International Youth and Council General for supporting these students and helping them to become the leaders of tomorrow. I hope you all enjoy the event, and best of luck in this school year. Thank you.
Namaste, salam and sasri akal. Hello and bonjour everyone. I'm so pleased to join International Youth and the Consulate General of India in welcoming you here in Toronto to this very exciting chapter in your academic careers. As the Parliamentary Secretary, I work very closely with Minister Mary Ng, Canada's Minister of International Trade, Export Promotion, Small Business and Economic Development, whose portfolio includes international education. And Mary often speaks very highly of the warmth of the Indian people and the innovation of Indian entrepreneurs she has witnessed firsthand during her recent trips to India. she has witnessed first. There's no doubt that India is a critical partner in education for Canada. And given my own family's roots that trace back to Gujarat in India, I feel a personal connection as I welcome all of you today to what I hope will be the start of a very enriching journey here in Canada. So we are honored that you're making Canada's world-class education system, which is renowned for the quality of its institutions, the high performance of its students, even richer and even more diverse. You'll see that Canada offers endless possibilities for students in a variety of fields, and it provides all of this in a unique, culturally rich, high-quality learning environment. The great news is that the supports are already in place to help you succeed. As you look around the room, you'll see many of our partners and institutions who are eager to share their resources and information with you. So I'll conclude by welcoming you all once again and wishing you all a bright, exciting, and rewarding educational experience here in Canada. Thank you, merci, shukran, and dhanyavad. Thank you, merci, shukran, and dhanyavad.
Okay, I'd like to call Mr. Jaren Raj on stage right now to present a new development that's quite an interesting opportunity. It's called a student guide. Jaren?
Thank you, Ash. It's with great pleasure we announce this student-centric guide, which is driven by students and it's for the students in Canada. The guide will help students to navigate their student journey to their path of becoming successful in Canada, and will provide you with all the details and tips and with all those resource tips. I would like to call the following people who actually helped in creating this beautiful, resourceful guide. Please, Irina, our content writer. Then Naga, who designed the graphics. Then we had Prasad Nair. Then Sunita, who helped. Praveen Worki also helped us, so please come on to the stage. Then CG Madam, can you please come so that we can actually, soft launch our guide. Once everything is ready, we'll email you the copy, the soft copy. Thank you. Sorry, Prashant.
Now I'd like to call on Mr. Rakesh Naidu of the Windsor Chamber of Commerce and Ironwork Inc. and OnRx on stage. Ironwork is a service to bring students and employers together. OnRx, a virtual healthcare platform.
Good evening, everyone. And clearly, this gentleman here, one of the best dressed person in the room. Let's give it up for Ash. Well, it's wonderful to be here. I'm Rakesh Naidu, as you heard. My day job is I'm the president and CEO of the Windsor Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined here tonight by my one very dear friend and founder, Bharat, if you can kindly get up. He's also the founder of iWork and OnRx. So just like everywhere else in Canada, Windsor is experiencing a boom when it comes to Indian students. And we are very delighted with that, just because Windsor needs a lot of talented workforce. That's something that we really want, and we're happy that a lot of Indian students are finding their way into Windsor Essex. Now with that, there's a lot of opportunities, but some challenges as well. And those challenges are known to people here. All the international students, and many, many moons back, I was an international student, so was my friend here. We have lived it firsthand. We know the challenges that you face. And, I'll categorize them into 3 different areas. Of course, getting good education becomes your #1 priority. But then, where do you live? Housing is an issue, clearly. Health, we heard from the CG as well, that health, finding access to healthcare providers. And we know that healthcare providers are not easy to access, especially after COVID, because a lot of family physicians, they're very busy, and it's very difficult to find family physicians when you need them, and especially when you're new to the country. And the third thing is finding jobs, right? All of us know that when you come into the country, it's not easy. You don't have the network. You have to figure out how are you going to travel to the place of work? When are you going to work? And we all know that, as students, you are limited in terms of the number of hours that you can work. It's only 20 hours, right? Now you have to go to school, and there are some downtimes as well. When you don't have a class, or a class gets canceled, or there's a weekend where there's nothing going on and you're available to work. So how do you find work when your schedule is completely changing every day and from semester to semester? So we figured out that we have to find this way to deal with this and to come up with a solution using technology. And hence, the 2 platforms that we launched really cater to these 2 challenges. Of the 3 challenges, the 2 that we are willing to tackle now is that of providing access to healthcare, and the second is helping you with finding jobs. Jobs when you need them and when you have the time for it. So I'll go through this very quickly. So OnRex is a virtual care platform. So what we've done is we've made this available to any student, any educational institution that is here or is interested can have this. Many educational institutions have their nurses or they have in-house doctor. They can use this. So not only can students go and get in-person treatment, but they can make use of this availability of a virtual access to physicians. So what we've done is we've made it very easy, so you don't have to travel. If you don't have transportation, you can still access physician. Many students delay treatment because they're not comfortable in going to a new setup, meeting new physicians, or they don't have transportation access. With this, it becomes very easy for you to really, get access when you need it. And we've made it so easy that now you can get treatment at your own time. So there is a walk-in feature in this. There is physicians that are in there, so you can walk in and meet a physician, or you can book an appointment with a physician, or you can even ask a physician to call you back, because sometimes you don't have the time to wait. Physicians will call you back at a time that will work for you. So there's many different features in that we've made it easy. We also know that mental health is a challenge. We know that a lot of students, unfortunately, are dealing with it. And what we wanted to do is to provide an opportunity for you to access healthcare providers, especially mental health care providers. Not only are we making them available here, but we're tying up with a large healthcare entity in India, so you'll have access to mental health providers in India who will speak your language. If there are many who would like to speak with someone in native languages, we've made that easy and available, so we are tying up with them as well. So many benefits. It basically boils down to getting healthcare, accessing healthcare without having to go into a physician's office, without having to go into an in-person place, sitting in your room, sitting in wherever you are, and being able to access that. So this is something that can be very easy. It is an easy, free sign up for you. So all you have to do is to go to this portal, and we'll make sure this presentation is available to you. You can access all of this information. Now this is available for those that have OHIP insurance, or if you have a private insurance. Now I know that some don't have insurance. For those, we have made means so that you can also get healthcare. We are working with a lot of physicians that are able to do this pro bono, are able to provide the service as discounted fee. So we are lining that up. Now what we would like to do is to increase that number of physicians that are providing that pro bono service or that are there to help students. So you can visit this website and you can find out all the information. This is the yellow highlighted mark is where you just go and register yourself. It's simple, it takes less than 30 seconds. So last year, I know we have some people from IRCC here. Minister Marco Mendocino, who was the Minister for Immigration, he's not having that portfolio now, but last year he was. So he came to Windsor and we launched this platform with him. This is a picture from one of the events in Windsor, Essex, where this was launched. The second platform I want to launch, and I'm rushing through because I know I've got limited time here, is OnRex. What is unique about this? It actually takes your availability and matches it to the needs of the businesses. You know, as I said, I come from the business community. I represent, over 1,000 businesses, or 24,000 businesses in Windsor, Essex. One thing that I often hear is businesses saying we cannot find people when we need them. A lot of small and medium-sized businesses need to hire, but they cannot find them. And as their business grows, or as there's a big order, or there is a surge in demand, they need people to really cater to that business need, and they can find them. So what we've done is we've taken this platform, we've created an app for you, and we're using AI and machine learning to match your skill sets, your availability, your preference for a job, how much distance you want to travel. There are 16 variables we have taken, and we matched it with the needs of the businesses in real time. So now you don't have to go with your resume from door to door. You put in your information, get your profile up, put your availability, put your skill sets, and it matches to the needs of the business in real time. So if tonight, if this hall needs, let's say, 5 more servers, if they were to put that information here, they would have an instant match from one of you who could have come and worked and provide that kind of service. So that kind of instant matching ability is there, and it makes it very easy for you to find job without having to really pursue many business owners. We've got a lot of partners that have already signed up. ICICI Bank is one of them. We've got many agencies that are helping students that are part of it. We've got, the University of Windsor, St. Clair College, and I know there are many other educational institutions. If you'd like to be part of this, if you'd like to support your students, we're happy to work with you. Our intention here is to really make that match happen, because a lot of jobs are not fulfilled because that match doesn't happen in real time. So really that's our intention. We've got a lot of media coverage. You can go online and see there are so many media houses that covered it. But here is what we need in terms of your support. You can download and use it. Student placement centers and education institutions, please connect with us. We can work with you so that this is available to all of your students. If there are employers here, or if you know of employers, please ask them to post it, because the more number of jobs that are posted there, the easier and better it is for all of you, for all the students use. And we also have developed a platform so that volunteers can use it as well. And those agencies that use volunteers can use it for, again, matching with the volunteers in real time. So this platform is for you. Please make the most use of it. You can get some more information here. And there is a website. If you need to connect with us, please connect at info@iwork.ca. And with that, I'll pass it back to Ash. Thank you.
So, thank you, Rakesh. That was a very valuable resource. I think all the apps and the services that he's outlining, of course, they're going to keep growing. Very exciting to hear about. And all the information that we're presenting to you, I know you're not taking notes today, it's a class day off, but we will make them all available to you. That's never a problem. Now, I'd like to call our next speaker, who has a lot of information and is going to answer a lot of questions from a lot of you. It's Mr. Raimondo, Angelo Raimondo from IRCC, which is Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. Mr. Raimondo joined IRCC and currently works as an outreach officer in Hamilton, Ontario. He joined a few years ago, I should say. In his position, he helps Canadian employers learn how various programs can be used to support their hiring needs and help economic growth. Angelo has a wealth of information to help guide you through your journey to permanent residence. So welcome on stage, Angelo.
Bonjour tout le monde. It's a pleasure to be here, guys. And thanks so much for the invitation to the new international students. Welcome to Canada. Get ready for the winter. So, as Ash kindly, and Ash, thanks so much. You're one of the only people who actually gets my name right the first time, so it's really nice. Thanks. As mentioned, my name is Angelo Raimondo, Outreach Officer for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, also known as IRCC. So I'm here to speak to you about the journey to permanent residence in Canada for international students. Before I begin, I would like to mention that this presentation and the accompanying slides are available in French, so please connect with the organizers or your school advisor if you want this information in French or the slides in French. Also, very important, the topics discussed here today are accurate as of September 28, 2022. So I just want to remind you guys that policies and programs change, and sometimes at a very quick moment's notice. So I strongly encourage you to continue to visit our website on a regular basis for up-to-date information. The slides also will be shared with you by the organizers, and they all have hyperlinks to information, and those get updated, okay? So in this information session, just quickly to give you guys an idea of what I'll be talking to you about, we'll be going over the main information you need to know in order to apply for permanent residence through Express Entry. We'll start by talking about how a student can transition from full-time study to full-time work after graduation. I'll also address some important COVID-19 measures and immigration concepts. And to conclude, I'll provide you with an overview, a very brief overview, of how Express Entry can be your pathway to permanent residence. Again, the slides used in the information section are shared with the organizers. I strongly encourage you to get a copy. I said that twice, I mean it. I took some time to make sure that everything is hyperlinked, right? So, and things update all the time. And if that updates, the hyperlink updates as well. So please do. Okay, so I'll just dive right in, and I'll talk to you about working while studying in Canada as an international student now that you're here and you have your study permit. So having Canadian work experience will be beneficial for you, especially if you want to apply for permanent residence. That is, it's often a requirement for most economic immigration programs. So prior to working, you will want to review the conditions that are written right on your study permit to make sure that it authorizes you to work. That's one of the first things you need to do before you start working. Review your study permit. Make sure there's a condition that says that you can accept or participate in on or off-campus work. The first way you can work with your study permit without a work permit is through on-campus employment. There's no limit to the number of hours you can work on campus. However, many universities have their own internal policies that limit the number of hours that can be worked. So for this reason, please touch base with your student advisor for this information. You can work on your school campus as long as you are a full-time student, you have a social insurance number, and you have a valid study permit that states that you are authorized to work. Okay, so if you haven't received your social insurance number yet, make sure you do before you start working. Make sure that you continue to be full-time so that you can, and you've started your studies so that you can start working on campus. You can also work off campus without a work permit using your study permit authorization, but again, you need to be a full-time student. Your study permit needs to have that condition written right on it that says that you are authorized to work on campus, off campus, sorry, and you've started studying, and again, you have a social insurance number. To work off campus, you also need to be doing or completing enrolled in a program that needs to be at least 6 months in duration that leads to a degree, diploma, or certificate. So for off-campus employment, it's also important to note that there are limits to the number of hours you can work. So during regular school semesters, you may work up to a maximum of 20 hours per week. However, during regularly scheduled breaks, you can work unlimited hours. What schools consider regularly scheduled breaks may differ by institution and even program. So for this reason, you should check with your international student advisor team to confirm this information. In most cases, breaks refer to, winter and summer breaks along with reading weeks. It's also important to understand that working more than 20 hours per week off campus is a violation of your study permit condition. And I say this because a lot of students don't take that serious, but make sure you're not working over 20 hours a week. So, for example, if you work 15 hours one week You cannot work 25 hours next week. This is a fixed, non-flexible cap of 20 hours a week. So if you do work more than 20 hours, you can lose your student status. You may even have to leave Canada, and it can impact future immigration applications that you may want to submit in the future, such as work permits or permanent residence. So having said this, make sure to abide to the conditions of your study permit, please. And lastly, you can also work as a co-op student. So some study programs include work experience as part of their curriculum. So for this scenario, you can apply for a co-op work permit, but only if you have a valid study permit. The co-op work placement is required to complete your study program in Canada. You have a letter from your school that confirms you need to complete the placements to get your degree, and your co-op placement does not total more than 50% of your total study program. You will need to apply for a co-op work permit if you did not already obtain one when you applied for a study permit. Okay, so you're not eligible for a co-op work permit if you're taking one of the following, for example, English or French as a second language, general interest courses, courses to prepare for another study program. So if you're not eligible for a co-op work permit, but you want to work in Canada, then you'll need to apply for a work permit. And again, there's hyperlinks there for you to review so you can get that information. Also, another thing about co-op work permits, if you are in Canada, you are eligible for one, and you have applied for one, what does that mean? You can actually use your off-campus work hours, your 20 hours, to work your co-op placement while we process your application. So that's a COVID-19 measure that a lot of people don't know that I actually informed someone today of. So make sure that 20 hours is, if you're working somewhere else, that's a total. That means that if you're working off-campus and co-op, the total combined cannot be more than 20 hours. Okay, so let's fast forward into the future, okay, to when you completed your studies. So time has gone by really quickly, now you're done school. So what happens now? Once you receive your completion letter or your final transcript from your school, you need to stop working immediately. So when I say once you get, it's when it becomes available, not when you go pick it up, not when you print it. When the school makes that available to you, letter of completion or your final transcripts, you need to stop working immediately. That's the first thing. Your next step depends on the following scenarios. So for example, do you want to leave Canada after you've completed your studies? If yes, then you must leave Canada before your study permit expires or within 90 days of receiving your letter of completion or final transcripts, even if your study permit is still valid, whichever of these scenarios comes first. If you wish to remain in Canada, then you must either be accepted to a new study program or apply to change your status to become a worker or visitor. Many of you will want to work following graduation, and many of you will be eligible to apply for a post-graduation work permit. So let's look at what a post-graduation work permit is. A lot of people know this as a PGWP, post-graduation work permit. So a PGWP is a permit that is issued to recent graduates from eligible Canadian post-secondary institution. Okay. Very important to note that this is an open work permit, which means you can work for any employer in Canada, except if you haven't done your medical, and then there's certain occupations, but if you've done your medical, you can work for any employer in Canada. The length that this post-graduation work permit is valid for will depend on the length of the study program you completed. Okay, so for programs that are longer than 8 months, but less than 2 years in length, we may give you a post-graduation work permit for the same amount of time as your program length. For example, if you completed a 1-year program, you may receive a post-graduation work permit for up to 1 year. For students that complete educational programs of at least 2 years in length or more, we may give you a post-graduation work permit that is valid for 3 years. 3 years is the maximum length that a post-graduation work permit can be issued for. And just to clarify, it's important to remember that when IRCC is determining the expiry date of your post-graduation work permit, we will be looking at the length of the educational program, not how long you took to complete it. So many of you are going to ask me probably, or hoping to ask me, oh, I'm doing this, how long will my work permit be, or whatever. Always remember that when you're applying for anything with IRCC, it's super important that you make it very clear what your situation is. The onus is on you as the applicant to satisfy the decision maker of something. So if you've completed a 2-year or 1-year program, make it very, very clear. Show what the program was. How does the school define it? Is it an 8-month course? Is it a 1-year course? How long did you take to complete it? Put every information together and submit that application so the officer has a clear understanding of your case. Something also I like to highlight as well is that a post-graduation work permit is issued to you once in a lifetime and cannot be renewed. I know many of you have probably heard about new special measures that have been put in place because of COVID-19. Those are not extensions. These are 18-month open work permits to address the difficulties that many post-graduation work permit holders have faced during COVID. But a post-graduation work permit can only be issued to you once in a lifetime. So make it count. That's your opportunity to work, hopefully in a high-skilled occupation, so that you can gain that essential, sorry, I saw the screens are good. So it's that opportunity for you to work in a high-skilled occupation to give you that Canadian work experience that will help you with your permanent residence application if that's the path you're choosing. And if you plan on continuing your studies in Canada, it's important that you deliberate when the best time to apply for this work permit is. This may be now or maybe later when you have completed all further educational programs you wish to pursue. So in order to receive this post-graduation work permit, you must apply within 180 days of receiving written confirmation that you successfully completed your program. So as soon as that letter of completion or final transcripts become available to you, that 180-day clock starts ticking. If you apply for your post-graduation work permit within 90 days of receiving written confirmation stating you completed your education or before your study permit expires, whichever scenario comes first, you can begin working full-time immediately while we process your post-graduation work permit application. If you apply any other time within the 180 days, you will need to wait for a decision on your work permit application before you can start working. Okay, so it's important to know that. And again, I've hyperlinked it just in case, because I'm sure you guys won't remember what I'm saying right now. But so if your study permit is expired and you're still in Canada, you can still apply for your post-graduation work permit. However, you will not be able to work while your application is being processed, and you'll need to request a restoration of status, which comes with additional fees and a little bit more paperwork. So strongly urge you to never let your status expire. Now that we've covered post-graduation work permit, I'll move on to the COVID-19 measures and some important concepts, and I'll start with the COVID-19. We'll start with the COVID-19 measures. We know that obviously COVID-19 has impacted us all, so for this reason, my department, IRCC, has implemented some facilitative measures for many aspects of immigration, including how we review post-graduation work permit eligibility. So if your studies were on hold or dropped to part-time during COVID in the winter or spring or summer of 2020 semesters, it's not going to impact post-graduation work permit eligibility. However, as of fall 2020, the expectation is that all international students are full-time in order to maintain their post-graduation work permit eligibility. So if you are studying online from outside Canada, not the case for you guys, but just so you guys know that if you do, if you know someone or you travel back home to study online, the facilitative measure for distance learning outside Canada is extended to August 31st, 2023, but with a reduced scope. The main takeaway from all of this is that, and it's very lengthy, I've hyperlinked it, but I'll put this together in a nutshell. The main takeaway here is that if you start your program from anywhere between September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2023, then at least 50% of your studies need to take place from within Canada, okay? And time spent studying online outside of Canada from September 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2023 for a post-graduation work permit eligible program at a DLI will not be deducted from your post-graduation work permit eligibility. But more importantly for you guys here today, for those of you completing studies inside Canada, if your courses are online due to pandemic, the time you spend studying online from within Canada until August 31st, 2023 still counts towards the length of your post-graduation work permit. However, we really strongly recommend that you attend in-person classes when they are offered. This temporary policy allowing students in Canada to study online while they're in Canada ends August 31st, 2023. Okay, so again, I've hyperlinked it. Main takeaway here, if you are studying in Canada, we encourage you to attend in person. If you choose not to, the temporary measure that allows you to study online from within Canada will expire August 31st, 2023. Okay, so let's move on to some important concepts here. The first concept to understand is ensuring that you always have valid status. If you're ever going to take anything away from what I'm talking to you about today, is one recommendation. I strongly urge you to never, ever, ever let your status expire. Ever. As a temporary resident, your status is confirmed by having a valid visitor record, study permit, or work permit. It's important to note that the temporary resident visas and electronic travel authorizations, those are not legal status documents in Canada. Those only give you authorization to travel to Canada, to seek and ask for entry into Canada, okay? The status documents are your study permits, your work permits, your visitor records. Those are the things that will give you status within Canada. If you apply to extend your time in Canada, there's a likelihood that you may hold what we call maintained status at one point or another. We also used to call it implied status. So maintained status refers to a person that has applied to extend their status in Canada before their current status expired. If this is the case, your current status will be maintained until a decision is made on the new application you submitted, which allows you to remain in Canada in the meantime. It's important to note that if you leave Canada while your extension application is still in process, you will lose your maintained status. So for example, if you hold a study permit and you apply for a study permit extension, as long as you applied for your extension before your current application expires, you are authorized to keep studying on your original permit until a decision is made on your subsequent one. Also, many of you will want to travel outside Canada, visit family, friends, or simply to explore another country. Before you leave Canada, I really encourage you to review what is required to come back into the country. Okay, so that information again is hyperlinked on the slide. Depending on your situation, you may need to apply for a visa or an electronic travel authorization to re-enter. Because the requirements vary, IRCC has created a Come to Canada tool just for a show of hands and also to see if you guys are paying attention. Who knows about the Come to Canada tool? No? Nobody? The Come to Canada tool, very, very, very useful tool for you, okay? Anytime you want to know, or someone or whatever, what are my options in Canada? Come to Canada tool will give you a questionnaire. You'll respond it based on your case, and it'll give you guidance as to what you're eligible for, where to find that information, what you need to do to become eligible. Okay? So use this tool as a resource when you're planning to travel out of Canada or when to try to figure out what you need to do. There's also a chat bot in our Client Support Center website. I strongly encourage you to use that as well. All right, so the next concept, really important to know, is the National Occupational Classification. It's also known as the NOC. The NOC is an organizational system by the Government of Canada to classify jobs. So think of it as a dictionary where each occupation will be defined as a NOC 0, A, B, C, or D. The classification of a job is all determined based on the industry and skill level. So all jobs, including my own, cashiers, professors, everyone in Canada, we all have a 4-digit NOC code which represent our positions. The 3 NOC categories within the black border on the slide are the ones that could make you eligible for federal portion of Express Entry PR programs. These same 3 NOCs are ones that typically require post-secondary education or trade experience and are considered high-skilled. Even when you are not ready to apply for permanent residence, it's good to know what NOCs are required for the different permanent resident programs, especially those under Express Entry. I also want to point out something very important. Later this year, in a couple months actually, we are looking forward to having the NOC system replaced with a new system called the TIER, which stands for Training, Education, Experience, and Responsibilities. Okay? Our website has already been updated to reflect this change, and again, more information is not only on the slide, but also I've added an addendum at the end of the deck that I strongly encourage you guys to review that will talk about what you need to do if you're applying for Express Entry using the new TIER system. Okay, so now that we've gone through a very quick level of overview of the NOC system, let's move on to talk about documents you may need for permanent residence. There are things you should do to prepare for permanent residence applications, okay? To start, everyone must prove their language ability by taking an approved language test. Okay, that includes people coming from English-speaking countries as well. So language tests are used to determine, obviously, your speaking, your listening, your reading, and your writing ability in one of Canada's official languages, which is English and French. Language test scores will be equated to the Canadian language benchmark, which can also be found on our website. So a main takeaway from this is that language test results must be less than 2 years old when you complete your Express Entry profile and when you apply for permanent residence. So always keep an eye on that language test. Make sure that you don't let that expire and go beyond 2 years. If you completed your highest level of education outside of Canada, you may want to have an assessment done to have your education recognized in Canada by getting what's called an Educational Credential Assessment, also known as an ECA. For some pathways to permanent residency, it's more desirable to have higher levels of education. So in these cases, you'll want to ensure that your highest level of education is recognized. Assessments need to be completed by an RCC designated organization in order to show what level the foreign program is equal to. Remember that ECAs are not needed for Canadian degrees, diplomas, or certificates. So if you've completed your highest level of education in Canada, you don't need to get an educational credential assessment. Also, as I mentioned before, most permanent resident programs require work experience. IRCC will refer to the experience requirements in terms of full-time and part-time required. IRCC refers to full-time work experience as being a maximum of 30 hours a week for a period of 12 months. This is equal to 1,560 hours in 1 year period. That does not mean that if you work double that in 6 months that you're eligible. No, the 1,560 hours need to be spread out in over 12 months. Programs will also recognize part-time work. In this case, this will be equal to 15 hours a week for a period of 24 months. If you're looking for employment, Job Bank is the official Government of Canada website that is catered to both international students and employers. Job Bank is not only a platform to search for employment, but the site also consists of a job matching service, which can help students get in touch with employers and find a job. Okay, so now that we've covered this, let's look at how all of this will tie into Express Entry. In order to understand Express Entry, it's super important to know that Express Entry is IRCC's online system to manage applications for permanent residence from skilled workers. Okay, it's a user-friendly system from profile creation to application for permanent residence. Okay, Express Entry is known as our flagship pathway to permanent residence. So creating a profile online is free and does not require an immigration lawyer or consultant. However, there are upfront costs for elements such as language testing and ECAs if needed. And if you recall, these are concepts that we covered earlier. Express Entry is a step-by-step process. The first step is to create an Express Entry profile. And this profile is valid for 1 year, and it's important to always keep it up to date. Once the profile has been created, those who appear to meet the criteria of one or more of the 3 federal immigration programs managed through Express Entry, they're automatically entered the Express Entry pool of candidates. The system will automatically determine if you meet the minimum eligibility criteria of one of the 3 programs based on the responses that you put in your questionnaire when you're creating your Express Entry profile. So when a candidate is accepted into the Express Entry pool, they're given what's called a comprehensive ranking system score, and they are then ranked against other candidates in the pool. Top ranking candidates are then invited to apply online for permanent residence. So the highest scoring candidates will then be sent what's called an invitation to apply for permanent residence during an invitation round. Okay? So you're not really applying to a program in Express Entry. You're creating a profile. You're getting a score based on the responses. If the system determines that you meet the eligibility criteria of at least one of the 3 programs, they'll enter you into the pool, the system will put you there, give you a score, and rank you with other candidates. Then you wait. And if you get an invitation to apply, then you get an invitation to apply. If you don't, after a year has passed, you'll have to recreate it. Okay, so you're not applying directly to one of the 3 programs in Express Entry. Okay, now that we know the basics, let's take a look at the 3 federal programs under Express Entry. The first of which is the Federal Skilled Worker Program. To be eligible for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, you will need to have at least 1 year of paid and continuous work experience in a high-skill position within the last 10 years. This work experience counts even if you are studying in Canada at the same time, or if you completed this experience while abroad. Okay, so many of you are going to ask, oh, my work experience when I'm studying, is that going to count? If it meets that eligibility criteria, the minimum work experience, your work experience will count. That means if you're doing a co-op, for example, for 1 year, continuous in the same occupation, and it's high-skilled work, then that would count as the minimum eligibility criteria. Okay, even if you're studying while you're doing that. The second program in Express Entry is Federal Skilled Trade Program. This program is looking for 2 years of work experience within the last 5 years in one of the designated NOC-B trades occupations that are listed on the slide, on the website, sorry. For example, this may include occupations such as electricians or welders. And there's also language proficiency for all these programs that you need to meet, okay? And I've put that there, and I'm cognizant of the time, I'm gonna speed up to the Canadian Experience class, because I know you guys are probably most likely interested in this one. So CEC, Canadian Experience class, we call it CEC. For the work experience component, you will need to have 12 months of skilled work experience completed in Canada within the last 3 years. This work experience does not need to be continuous, and you can combine different NOC skill levels as long as it's skilled. But one thing I do need to mention, obviously you have language requirements that you need to meet, and I've hyperlinked them. One thing I need to mention to you is that work experience that you gain while you're a full-time student does not count for this program. Okay, that's why I highlighted for federal skilled worker. If your work experience meets the minimum eligibility or minimum work experience required for federal skilled worker, then even the work experience that you do when you're a student will count. For Canadian Experience class, it does not. The work experience that you gain needs to be gained while you're holding a work permit, like a post-graduation work permit. Okay, so now that I've zipped through these federal programs, let's talk about the point system used in Express Entry. Their system is called the Comprehensive Ranking System Score. And a show of hands, please. I'm just very curious first to make sure that you guys are still paying attention to me. I'm almost done, I promise. Who's ever heard of the Comprehensive Ranking System Score? Who's ever used the CRS tool? Comprehensive Ranking System tool. This is great. Wonderful. So as you guys know, you guys probably teach this better than I can, right? But the Comprehensive Ranking System is also known as CRS, and is broken down into 2 categories. In CRS, we calculate your core points and your any additional points. So each of which are out of a total of 600 points, and then the score from these 2 groups of points will give you an overall total CRS score out of 1,200. So the core points for the CRS points will take into account your work experience, right? Your education level, your language proficiency, and your age. We will discuss additional CRS points on the next slide. However, I just want to mention that if you are curious, again, and you haven't used the Comprehensive Ranking System Calculator tool, please do. It's a very useful tool. It's underutilized. It will help you, even if you're not eligible for any of the programs in Express Entry, it will help you understand what you need to do to become eligible. Okay. Again, only candidates who have the highest CRS score in Express Entry pool and are eligible for one of the 3 programs in Express Entry will receive an invitation to apply, right? The minimum CRS points needed to get an invitation to apply varies, okay? So it's never the same. So if you're ever curious to see, for example, you go and you use the CRS tool and you're like, oh, that would be my score. You could also, you can even Google it, but you can go on our website to see all the minimum scores that have, throughout the start of Express Entry that have received an invitation to apply, to give you an idea. It's never the same minimum score. The reason why is that, you know, for example, the composition of the pool, what the scores are, how many people on the pool, how many invitations are we sending out. And as you saw, 50% of your CRS score comes from additional points. These points can come from a variety of factors. You can get up to 600 points by receiving a provincial or territorial nomination. Your province's nomination program website will be the best place you'll want to visit to get more information about that, but you do get 600 points for that. If you have a valid job offer, you can receive 50 additional CRS points for a high-skilled position, or 200 points for an executive position. I know I already mentioned this, But if you don't have a job offer, Job Bank is a great website, great tool, because there's a job matching component, okay, on the website where employers may be referred your Job Bank profile if it fits the pre-requirement needs of the job they posted. Okay, so this will allow you to get connected with employers in Canada and give you that Canadian work experience. Completing a post-secondary education in Canada can also give you extra points. You can get an extra 15 points for completing a diploma or certificate program of 1 or 2 years, or you can get 30 points for completing a diploma or certificate program of 3 years, a bachelor's degree, or a postgraduate degree. French proficiency is also something that is very important to us, the government of Canada. It's one of our priorities, and we'll also give up to 50 additional points for French proficiencies. They can also boost your score. So if you score well on your French test, you can get an additional 25 points on your CRS score. But if you can also speak English well, so French and English, and have the test results to prove that, you can get a total of 50 points. And lastly, by having a Canadian citizen or permanent resident brother or sister, you can get 15 additional CRS points. Okay, so let's move on to the next steps. As mentioned earlier, if you are among the highest ranked candidates in Express Entry, you will receive an invitation to apply. And once you receive an invitation to apply, you have 60 days to submit your application. Okay, and we're talking, when you're submitting an application, it has to be a complete application. So if you need to do your medicals, you should have them done up front. You need police certificates, you should have them. If you need to translate documents, you need to have your test results renewed, your ECAs or whatever. That should all be done when you submit your application, okay? That's what a complete application is. So as soon as you start to create your Express Entry profile and you're accepted into the pool, don't wait to get an invitation to apply to prepare your documents. Start preparing them right away so that when you get the invitation to apply, you're not scrambling around trying to get your documents, right? Because once that 60 days expires, then you have to wait again. And just because I get a lot of questions about this, I want to further discuss what funds are required to immigrate. So for contacts, application fees for permanent residents are $850 for primary applicant, same for the spouse, and $230 for each child, dependent child that you have on your application. You also need to pay for a right of permanent residence fee of $515 as the primary applicant, and the same fee for your spouse. So it can get quite expensive, so make sure you're prepared for that as well and well informed. Additionally, for Express Entry, applicants coming through the Federal Skilled Worker or Federal Skilled Trade programs, they must demonstrate that they have means to support themselves. Okay, so, and I'm also going to leave you this information here to show you if you want to get more experience and you're not eligible for Express Entry. I'm also putting that there to show you that that is the main source of information is our website, our call center. And if you have any information or any requests for case data update, always submit a web form. And this is the addendum, and you'll get a copy of the slides. Thanks very much, guys. Sorry for taking up so much of your time. Thanks, Ash.
Okay, Angelo, thank you for that. I know the last couple of slides went by a little bit fast because I stood there and I go, Angelo. But Angelo has offered early on, he said, share these slides with everybody. So everybody who's registered online and in person will get a copy of that slide deck and other resources. So I want to thank you, Angelo. Very informative, a lot of stuff I didn't know, and now I know. By the way, I know you've been sitting for quite some time. I did visit the kitchen. The food is smelling really good. I told him to close the door, so just hang in there. In the meantime, there are beverages in this corner. But I will ask, please, when a speaker is up here, if you can keep the noise down towards the back, I would appreciate that. We are going to do some prize giving in a couple minutes, but before that, we have some more leaders who would like to send a message by video to you.
Hello, this is Sean Chen, Member of Parliament for Scarborough North, and I'm delighted to welcome the international students from India attending this information session organized in conjunction with the Consul General of India in Toronto.
Hi there, my name is Marilyn Gladue and I'm the Member of Parliament for Sarnia-Lambton. Hi there. I want to welcome all of the students who have come from India to Canada to pursue their educations who have come from India
Hi, I'm
to
Melissa
Canada
Landsman, and I'm the Member of
pursue
Parliament
their
for
education.
Thornhill, and I wanted to welcome you to Canada as you embark on the next step in your academic journey.
My hope for you is that you will enjoy our beautiful country, that you will be successful in your studies, and that you may want to settle here eventually and contribute to our economy.
We're excited to have you, and I know that this could be a difficult and confusing time. And we just wanted to let you know that whatever you need from the federal government, we're here to help.
This is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn about Canada and the many opportunities, programs, services you will find in this beautiful country.
Canada welcomes thousands of students from India every single year. You are the next generation of leaders.
I trust that you will find success in the many opportunities and educational experiences that you will encounter. I wish you all the very best, and once again, welcome to Canada.
I can't wait to see what you do next, and I'm really excited about you being here. So work hard, follow your dreams, and I know that anything is possible. Welcome.
Again, welcome, and I hope that your time here is safe and happy.
Time, as promised. So I'd like to call Jaren Raj up here. He has some tickets. I'm not sure what prizes he has in store for you, but as long as you have your tickets, get them ready. And let Jaren do the magic.
Hello. I think first I'll go to Shubhanji from Consulate General of India. So can you please pick one from this box? And please read the numbers. So please check your tickets. Can you please...
0029959.
What's your name?
Sri Lakshmi.
From which college? Centennial. Sri Lakshmi from Centennial. That's right. So Shubhanji from Consulate General of India office will be giving out the prizes. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see who is the next winner. So Prashant Ji from Seneca College. He will take the next one. Can you please read it loud?
Thank you, Jerry. 0029846.
So, what's your name and from which college?
I'm from Lambton College.
Lambton College.
Vikas.
Vikas. So, please. Thank you. The next one, I would request Rendell Arsenault. I know most of you know him. He's a celebrity in social media with 100,000 followers, right? Yeah, so please pick one.
Somebody in the back paid me $5, okay? The next number is 0029947. 0029947. You don't really owe me $5. It's a 0029947. Okay. Oh, you're lucky.
So, your name and college?
I'm Jamie from Seneca.
Jamie from Seneca. So let's take one more prize. I would request Hitesh Ji from Consulate General of India office to pick the next winner.
So the next number is
002-9963. 002-9963.
My name is Philip K. Santosh. I'm from Georgian Dialect Tournament.
Thank you. Back to Ash.
Jaren, thank you for that. Congratulations to the winners. Jaren did tell me that if you come to our next event, what is it? Am I reading it right? Flights to India. No, boxes of ladus. So he promised something nice anyways. At this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Prashant Srivastava. He's the Director, Business Development for the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia at Seneca College. Prashant has many years of high-level experience with international education and business development. He has worked with academic institutions in California, New York, British Columbia, and India before joining Seneca College. He holds an engineering degree and has a Master of Business Administration degree. Prashant has worked diligently and tirelessly together with Naga Pandurangi, Jaren Raj, and others to make this event come to life. Prashant, what exciting discussions do you have in store for us?
Thank you, Ash. And first of all, I would like to welcome all of you, all of our international students, partners, Consulate General of India office, as well all the institutions, community leaders for this event. So before I invite my esteemed panelists, I will just like to reflect on the contribution of international students in Canadian society. So as we know that there is a large number of international students in Canada, Canada's international student population has tripled over the past decade. In 2019, there were 642,000 international students. International students contribute immensely to the Canadian society. They contribute financially, socially. The financial contribution of international students in Canadian society is around $22 billion, and it supports over 170,000 full-time Canadian jobs. And there has been a rapid increase of international students coming to Canada, like from 2010 to 2020, it has been 135% increase. In 2020, India constituted 34% of all international students coming to Canada, as well as large number of international students are in Ontario. Ontario attracts over 46% of international students. As well, there are over 230,000 Indian students enrolled in post-secondary institutions in Canada. India has been a key engine driving global talent development over the last decade. Indian students have founded startups, fostered communities, bolstered family businesses at home and abroad, and many of you are here today in this gathering. Today, international education with India is at the forefront of its key component of destination economies from around the world. According to CBIE, Canadian Bureau of International Education, India is the largest source country of international students for Canadian post-secondary institutions. India accounts over 1/3 of international students in Canada, a proportion which is greater than the next 4 countries combined. So why this rise is from India? Young population, difficulty to find places in top-tier institutions, rising GDP are the positive factors why students from India are dominating the international education market. More so, the population in many destination countries are declining, increasing median age, such as 40 in the US, 41 in Canada. So international students not only contribute financially and intellectually, but they also contribute in the workforce. And many of you, like for example, are working part-time while you are studying, and many work after your graduation as well. According to a research report, the 196 billion international education market, which reached 433 billion by 2030, with projected 8 million students globally. So you can see the potential of students moving from one country to another. It is more like an import and export. India has one of the more major exporters of international students globally. And in former IRCC ministers Mikadino's own word, international students may be temporary, but their contributions are lasting, and IRCC, through its various departments, they help them to stay permanently, and Angelo's presentation today is a testament for that. So, students' well-being is paramount to colleges and universities, and they play an important role in ensuring international students are supported before and after arriving in Ontario. With this backdrop, let us start our panel discussion on supporting students' services offered by academic institutions and how international students can benefit from these services. So in this panel discussion, we have a number of institutions participating, and I'm really thankful for all of them for their time. We have Canadore College, Georgian, Humber, Mohawk, Ontario Tech, Seneca, Sheridan, University of Toronto, Confederation, Conestoga College as part of this panel discussion. So now I would like to invite in the panel discussion in this sequence. So this panel is a virtual, they are joining us virtually. They have sent us a recorded message from, So Confederation College, we have a recorded message which we will play it as we go in the sequence. Next, Trish Wiggle Green, Associate Vice President, she has also sent us a recorded message. She sent regrets that she can't come. Now I would like to invite Stephanie Barry from Georgian College to please come on the stage. So next, I would like to invite Andrew Ness, Dean International from Humber College. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Anuraj Bajwa, Dean International and Partnership from Mohawk College. Next, I would like to invite Caroline Yu, Manager of International from Ontario Tech University. Next, I would like to invite my boss, Keith Monrose, Executive Director of Seneca College. Next, I would like to invite Sunan Sharma from Sheridan College, Associate Dean, Community Citizenship, Student Leadership and Engagement. Next, I would like to invite Emily Mancaso, Associate Registrar and Director, Student Recruitment and Admissions from University of Toronto.
Hi.
So now we can start the panel discussion. What a wonderful panel of eminent leaders in international education we have, and I'm really thankful for their time, that they have taken such time and patience to come, and they are participating for the benefit of our international students, because they are the leaders in international education, and we are working for students, and we are a student-centric organizations, all are represented here. So I would like to start with my panel discussion. My first question is for Georgian College, to Stephanie. What cultural and socializing support you provide to Indian students from diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective at Georgian?
Thank you, Prashant. I'm happy to go first. break the ice for the panel. I do actually want to start with a bit of a personal story. My journey in international education actually started in India. I was completing a master's degree and applied for some funding to actually go and live in Calcutta and do some work in West Bengal. And I was introduced to a network of schools there. So I began working sort of on the other side. I myself was young. I was living in India. I was, a guest of many schools that hosted me to do my work. And one of the most important things for me was being able to connect on a cultural level with, other international students, other workers that were living in the community, but also be able to live and work in the culture that I was immersed in. So I was quite pleased to receive this question because it's something that has underpinned, and I think we can all attest to this, that we do as international people who work in international, who have leadership roles, the lens of equity, diversity, and inclusion underpins everything that we do at an institutional level, at a departmental level, and even drilling down into those micro levels at the community. So I will share a bit of what Georgian has been doing recently, but also sort of as a natural foundation of what we do as we welcome international students into our community. At a macro level, Georgian College, and in fact in the last 12 months, has formalized a department of equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging. So if you are a student of Georgian, and I do think we have some students here, you will see front and center at an institutional level that we support students with that lens across the college and in our community. So this is a dedicated team outside of the international department, which I think is an important message to send, that this is not just about us as a department serving international students, but it's a college-wide approach. So this department works diligently to prepare staff, students, and the community how to speak with that intercultural lens. Right from events, festivals for students to engage in, but also doing training at a department level for staff and students to speak within that lens. So I think that's really an important commitment that Georgian's made. At a departmental level, our entire department is structured along the lines of, following students in their journeys, but also settlement and integration services when they arrive. So one of the things that I'm most proud of is our student ambassador program. And I think that's probably common across most of the leaders that you're going to hear from today, is that we use our students as experts to inform us on programming in the community that we need to be supporting, that we need to be following, and also bridge the gap between what communities are doing where our students are living and what our team is doing to help integrate them and speak to that. So something else that we're quite proud of is a recent rollout of an intercultural competency certificate. And that is teaching people how to speak in a lens that allows space for different cultural exchanges. And we've started to pilot this in many of our programs. So if you're a student at Georgian, if you're in some of our programs that we've selected, you are actually taking a course in intercultural communication. How does that help you in the community as a student coming from India? Well, you can know that your fellow peers are learning how to speak with an intercultural lens to help appreciate the culture that you're bringing into that community. And I think that's a really important piece, and we want to roll that out at an institutional level. So I'm really excited to say that this is something that we're actively piloting at the student level, at the faculty level, to help people speak in that cultural lens. At a very micro level, and I'm talking about the community, Georgian many of our leadership sit on external committees where we are sitting, with an immigration partnership, or we're sitting on service boards that look at a very micro level those community connections that our students are looking for. And I think something that's really important to note is the current work that we're doing as we welcome so many more students. We are trying to integrate that culture into the fabric of what the community is doing. So we have a really excellent task force within Aurelia, which is where one of our campuses are. We're working very closely with the City of Barrie at the county level to bring forward sort of community mentorship programs where we can peer-to-peer support. We can tap into the business leaders to help speak with our international students to learn about different cultural exchanges around business and language and how we speak to each other. So these are really important things that are happening at all levels. I don't want to underscore the importance of celebrating festivals and food, and something that we're really looking forward to in the future is working with our community food programs to actually sponsor ethnic food and exchanges. Because I can tell you, my time living abroad or working abroad, and specifically in India, cultural exchanges around a shared table, you can't overestimate or underestimate rather the importance of that. So I think there are high-level conversations at a macro level that we at Georgian really have put a lot of resources and thought into, where we've actually created an entire department to focus on equity, diversity, inclusion, and belonging, and right down to our micro-level programming that we as a department lead at Georgian. So thanks for the question, Prashant, and also thank you for doing this, because this is incredibly important. And thank you to everybody who's here today. And I will give a special shout out to our Georgian students, if you're in the audience, and our Georgian at ILAC students.
The audience about the diversity, equity, and inclusion. And Indian students, they're coming from a country which is diverse with so many different states, 23 different national languages, different food. I think it's a learning experience for both of us. And thank you also for sharing your personal story. Thank you. So I will now move to my next question. And the next question is for Andrew Ness of Humber College. So, Andrew, how does Humber support international students in coming the challenges of cultural shock?
Thanks, Prashant. I'm going to go up here. I'm okay up here? All right. Yes.
Well, good evening, everybody. Okay, I'm going to try that one more time, all right? Good evening, everybody. Thank you. You know, I'm in a fortunate position here because I'm very close to some very important people. But as I think about discussing culture shock and what we do at Humber, I'm actually going to ignore these people in the front, and I'm going to talk to you students in the back. And I want to ask you a question. And that question is, did you wake up this morning and say to yourself, I am making a difference in the world? Did you? Not one? Well, I have something to share. You are making a difference in the world. And thank you. And what I mean by that is you have taken this significant journey to a place where many people have taken similar journeys before. We are a country of immigrants. I am the son of an immigrant. And as I reflected on culture shock, and I thought about what you had experienced, and I thought about what Humber has to do to support our students, I thought about what my father would have experienced in 1953 when he came here. And of course, there's challenges. When we talk about culture shock, I'm going to use the term cultural differences. So I would think about language as a barrier. And of course, we all speak English. But the fact you came to Canada with IELTS 6 or 6.5 didn't help you understand what a double-double is. And the cultural nuance of language becomes a challenge. That's a barrier that we have to overcome. you have to learn how to interact. Why are people polite? Why do people say hello to you in the street? Which I know for some people who come to the country, it's a bit arresting. Why would that happen? And there's different modes of the way people are interacting, and you've been immersed in our educational communities, not only with students and colleagues from your own region of India, from other regions of India, in our case from Humber, from 120 different countries. A massive heterogeneous pool. So at Humber, we ask the question, what can we do to assist? The first thing we ask of students is to trust us and to engage with us. We spend a lot of time encouraging students to ask anybody, from the president right through the entire administration, every faculty member, anyone at Humber is willing to answer your question. Now that may sound very simple and almost simplistic, but in fact, it's really important because at some point in the journey for our students, we know that you have to have a quick question answered, and it may just be, where's the bathroom? It may be, what time's the cafeteria close? It may be, how do I get this document printed? It may be, how do I access my Blackboard? Whatever that is, we try to have an open community to be able to allow students to ask anyone that question, to make it open. So openness is number one. Number two, we encourage students to find familiarity. And I know we talked about food, we talked about similar language, so familiarity is comfortable, and that helps, and we understand that that's an important piece to emphasize. At the same time, and I know there's been a lot of really important comments made this evening about mental health and mental health challenges, we engaged with a service where we provide 24/7, mobile app-based, multilingual, culturally appropriate mental health support for every student. So the idea is that at any point during the day, and in many cases for our students in the middle of the night, in any language, I think it's about 105 languages, you can access a counselor, access the mobile app, you can access video training, you can have a video call, it's available. So we try to help students with that underpinning. We also, as students are coming, try to set expectations. So culture shock, or that the cultural differences, are more jarring if you don't know it's coming. So we spend a lot of time conversing with students, pretty casually, just the way I'm doing with you right now. We do that on webinars, really from the point of admission right through, to try and answer every question at any point a student has it. And as well, we ensure that if student wants to come in, they have access to people. We have been on our campus for over a year, open 5 days a week, so students can come and ask questions. So we're actually fairly early coming back to campus. We're fairly early providing access to staff to students, so we wanted to make sure that if a student had a question, they could come and we would help them. I'll just leave one final comment as I think about my father and I think about people coming to this country. There are common concerns around culture shock that everybody experiences and we try to overcome, but the biggest one, as was referred to earlier, is the weather. It's cold, especially if you come in January, if you start in a January semester. So we do try and sensitize our students to what to expect. We provide jackets through our student government coat program. We also give students counsel on where to get the right clothing and which clothing to wear. So I'll leave you tonight. I'd like thanks again to Prashant and to the organizers. This has been a fantastic evening. Really appreciate all the students who are here. I'd like to congratulate you all as well on your choices. Very, very happy to see you here. I look forward to our ongoing conversation. Thanks.
Thank you, Andrew. And this cultural shock is, again, a challenge which international students, they go through, and it takes time also to overcome. And also, again, coming back to the context of India, because we have so many different languages, different states, even you travel from one state to another, there is a sense of cultural shock as well. So if you travel like For example, from north to south, language will change, food will change. So there is also a factor within India. So I think Indian students, if they travel within India and then they come to Canada, then there is a possibility of less cultural shock as well. Thank you. So I will move to my next question, and next question is for Mohawk College to Anuraj. Anuraj, living in isolation in a foreign country due to the impact of COVID-19 has caused stress, anxiety, and mental health. If you can please provide some measures of support provided by Mohawk to address these issues. So, Anuraj, thanks.
Okay. Let me start by thanking the organizers for the opportunity for us to be here talking to you. Thank you very much, and thanks CGI for that. Before I go into the answer, I have a couple of questions I wanted to ask, especially the students. So raise of hands, those of you who started your program from outside Canada, and now you're here. Thank you very much. Raise of hands, those who started their program in COVID inside Canada. Thank you, thank you. The reason I've asked that is that sometimes as a process or on the surface, we try to understand what you've gone through, but would never fully understand the anxiety and stress of starting overseas or maybe continuing your programs in COVID in Canada. So I want everybody to stand up and applaud each and every student who actually started their programs either from outside Canada and are here, or in COVID and are still successful. So let's all stand up and appreciate and applaud. Thank you very much. And this needs strength of character and commitment to education to actually do that. I may go into what we've done at Mohawk during COVID to support stress and anxiety, but the answer would be that unless COVID continues, that may not be important. But what is important is what we learned from our experience and what we would continue as processes, as thought process, as our philosophical change we went through during COVID, from focusing on processes in person to creating those additional and thousands of those touch points at different levels to engage our students, to make sure that they have the services available, the supports available throughout the college at different levels. Not to provide them the service only, but also to make sure that they feel engaged. And they have a platform where they can come, they can talk to us, and if there is stress and anxiety, we can take care of that. So that the learning at different levels from the COVID era, I would call, which would continue, and that's the promise, Mohawk, which would continue beyond COVID era, where the philosophical shift we tried to create from focusing on processes to creating those touch points with our international students, and of course, out-of-city domestic students too, to make sure that their lives are successful, their education journey is successful, and free of stress and anxiety. I'm going to hurriedly go through some of the examples. They may not mean anything to anybody unless raise the hands. Anybody from Mohawk here? Oopsie. So yes, they may not mean anything to anybody, but you may resonate, or this may resonate with you because every college I know, I've worked with, my colleagues here, they've gone through the same journey, and they made an effort to make sure that your journeys are stress-free, anxiety-free, and without the mental health issues we've gone through in the last 2 years. So the transformation in terms of creating those touch points started with our recruitment team. Those are the people who are very close to our students. So be it a recruitment team member working overtime day in and day out without the time zone issues with our students to make sure those who are outside of Canada are successful and those who are inside Canada are stress-free. Be it faculty members who went out of their ways to make sure that they are flexible enough to make sure the academic delivery is within the timelines and the time zones where the students are rather than those who are in Canada. So that was a big step for our faculty to make changes in their delivery models and in their mindset to make sure students are successful academically. Be it our arrivals team or wellness team members who started calling each and every student who newly arrived or those who are already in Canada to make sure they are well and they're taken care of. If they have any issues, we were there to discuss with them and make sure they have the supports. Be it international coaches, student advisors, wellness coaches, intercultural coaches who made sure they always walked an extra mile, sometimes in students' languages, and support every student who felt stressed and anxious. Be it Mohawk Student Association, our international team, and our community partners to launch and offer Easy Pantry program for our students who were having issues with food shortages. Be it Mohawk Foundation, Mohawk International, Hamilton Community Foundation who came together and to fundraise and support international students with Helping Hampers initiative, providing them with day-to-day necessities during COVID. Be it Mohawk International Language and Culture Center team who started organizing multiple virtual events, maybe 20, 30, 40 times the normal number of events they would have to make sure that they engage students. And students have a platform to share what they're going through, and if there are any issues, we take care of that. Be it Mohawk International working with Mohawk residents, Hamilton International students, and Mohawk's legal team to make sure we take care of housing issues, be it emergency housing or long-term affordable housing or short-term housing and any legal issues related to tenancy. So these were some of the examples where we tried to go out of the process and into the touch point and created those relationships and platforms for students to come, engage, talk to us, and if there are any issues, we take care of that. All these examples have been helpful, and we have learned in the last 2 years that we need to pivot. We've been doing that, and we need to pivot into a new model of student services that is more focused on relationship building, constant engagement, and dialogue, so that students like you who are here, anything happens, are still resilient and successful in Canada throughout your journey with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anuraj, for your comments, and completely agreed, and everyone would agree that this has been a very, very troubled time, and it's the togetherness of the whole community, all stakeholders, we are able to come out of this pandemic as we are coming out. So thank you for your remarks. Now I will move to a next question, and the next question is to Caroline Yeo of Ontario Tech University. The question is, international students, when they move from India to Canada, from Indian education system to Canadian education system, what support Ontario Tech University provides to smoothen their academic transition?
Hello, thank you for inviting me to this event. I'm going to start off, I wasn't going to start off with a personal story about related to the question, but I will start off with it. So I remember my first year of university, and I'm sure there's lots of students who go through the same thing. I was an A+ student all through high school, never had to work much. You know, there's times I finished my homework at the end of the period when you had 10, 15 minutes left, and came into university very confident that that was going to be the same case when I started my program. So you can probably see where this is going. So I didn't have an issue with the course material, but the course load when you start can be overwhelming for students. And the method of study skills that I learned in high school didn't translate to university. And it took me a very hard semester to learn those study skills. And this was 20 years ago, so we didn't have the support back then like we do now. So I understand where students are coming from. It can be very, very upsetting if you're used to having really good marks to come in and just be completely overwhelmed by the load of being in university or college. So at Ontario Tech, we have very many different supports from different sources to help students with this transition. And the transition starts before you arrive at Ontario Tech. Our academic advisors will reach out to you when you confirm your admissions or your registration. We also have international student advisors who will reach out to the students personally to give them information about how to come to Canada, their immigration to get their study permit, and different things to make the transition a little easier. Once you get here, you will meet with your academic advisor and you will create a plan for the next 4 years while you're at university, or if you're in a graduate program, the next 2 years or to 4. Those academic advisors are your communication to your faculty. So anything that you run into academically that's a challenge for you, our academic advisors are always there to help. We also have very many different supports from our student center. We have peer mentors, so other students in your program, in your classes, that will assist you in your program, in studying for your program. We have a writing center, so we have writing specialists to help students. We have different specialists hired to help students in different programs, such as math, chemistry, physics, etc. So that's one-on-one support for the students. We also have group study skills. We have peer mentoring. So like it's been mentioned here before, students who are more involved in campus, students who volunteer, students who are more connected do better. And so each student that comes to Ontario Tech gets a peer mentor in their program who is their person that they can ask questions at any time. No questions are off limit. And it can be anything from where do I find the Tim Hortons on campus to, you know, I find this professor really hard to connect with. Can you give me more information about how you did in this class? So we have very different levels of supports from different areas to help our students make that transition. We also, of course, have supports on campus, as we're talked about, mental health supports, student accessibility supports, and all of those work together to help the student transition as best as they can. We also have a focus that every interaction with our student at Ontario Tech should be a positive one. And we put effort in that every single person at Ontario Tech who's a staff member is, you know, we believe in that. We believe every experience that we have with our students should be a positive one. So we make the effort to make us accessible. We make the effort for students to be able to reach out when they need us. And hopefully that all of these efforts together make the students transition a little bit easier academically. So I wanted to thank you for inviting me to this, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. And I completely agree, like, these are transitional challenges. Academic challenge is one of them. And coming from a different education system, it does bring a sense of complicity as well, and your peer mentoring and all the support you provide at Ontario Tech, I'm sure is very helpful to students. So now I will move to my next question, and that is to Seneca College, Keith Monrose. Keith, the impact of COVID-19 on IRCC processing has resulted into significant backlog, and thousands of international students are studying online from their home countries. How is Seneca managing expectations and providing support to international students studying remotely from their home countries?
Thank you, Prashant, and hello, everyone. I have the unenviable task of speaking to people who are online, but I am really encouraged, and thank you, Anuraj, for asking that question. It seems that a third of the students who are here today started online. And so for those of you who are at home watching your tiny screen, there are people here today that started just like you. They started at home in their home country. As you heard from some of the comments, there are a lot of supports and there's a lot of hope. My question is really about students who are studying remotely from their home and how can they be supported. And you know, there was a show in Canada that played for many, many seasons on TV. It was called MacGyver. And MacGyver was amazing. Like, no matter where he was, he would figure out a way to make things work. If he was lost in the woods, he'd figure out a way to make a compass. If he was lost at sea, he would figure out a way to, you know, create a flotation device, whatever. He was incredible. In India, what I really admire is the sense of jugaad. You know, you can make something out of something else. Jugaad. MacGyver, jugaad, right? What we have done as a species over the last 2 years is the biggest jugaad you've ever seen, right? That's what we've done, and we've done it together. It's taken a community, it's taken institutions, it's taken students, parents, all kinds of things have come together to create this great jugaad, which is studying remotely from your home. We never did that before. As an institution, we scrambled, all of us up here scrambled to do this. So here are some of the things that we can offer you when you're studying from home. The first thing is, you know, really ensuring that whoever is supporting you is responsive to change. We know that, as Prashant mentioned in the question, this is just one institution, IRCC, but there are many institutions that had to pivot and change rapidly during the pandemic. Rapid interpretation and adaptation to policy shifts are very important. And then being able to very clearly articulate what that means for you, the student. Ask the questions, don't be shy. Find out from the institution or the organization you're working with, what does this mean for me? So, for example, August 25th, IRCC changed their policy. Ask the person at your institution, or when you call the government, or when you talk to the agent, what does that mean for me? How do I interpret it? How do I apply it? Communication. Ensure that you're working with organizations that communicate. You know, I'll just give you one example. Prashant was very instrumental in this. We developed a series called This Way to Seneca. And many of the institutions did that. Created checklists so that when you're at home, you know these are the things that I need to do when I'm studying at home. Acknowledging what the impact is from different sectors. So as a college, Seneca can do so much, but also we need to be able to explain to you, and others need to explain to you, this is the lane I operate in. I'm an educational institution, but the IRCC has a role, agents have a role, community has a role, health services has a role. Everything has to come together to support the individual, especially when you're outside of the country and studying from home. Duty of care. So, you know, ensure that the organization is reaching out to you.
finding out how you are, where you're at. Do you need any support? What are you going to be doing in terms of insurance? Do you actually need health insurance? You probably don't if you're in your home country. How are they going to support you on that? What kinds of mental health support? So Drew mentioned some of the mental health supports that are available in multiple languages. Do you have access to that even if you're at home studying remotely? Access. If you're studying remotely, you want to be able to access information technology and the stack of technology that's out there. Does the organization provide you 24/7 access to help? Does it provide you that support in different time zones? Hopefully in different languages. What kinds of IT support is available to help you gain access, VPN, IT help desk, etc.? These are important questions to ask. Delivery model. Are there a range of delivery models that can support you? You know, so for example, and all of us have different delivery models that are available to students, but we have online, hybrid, and flex. So if you're online, these are the people that I'm speaking to when you're at your home right now. But if you're hybrid, you could be doing a combination of being on campus and at home, wherever you are. And flex is you can do a combination of the above. Finally, flexibility in terms of financial means and registration. Make sure that you have options that allow you to come to Canada, and when you arrive, if you can arrive late, that there are ways for you to merge into the registration process seamlessly so you can get on campus and start to do your studies. But if you're unable to come, and for example, your visa hasn't come through, is the organization going to be flexible in terms of deferrals? Is it going to be flexible in terms of refunds? And so these are very important things when you're online, at home, and you're planning, ultimately, I do want to come to Canada, I do want to study at one of these fine institutions that's represented here, but ensure that there is flexibility in terms of the registration process, flexibility in terms of the financial process. These administrative processes are very tricky, but you need to know that you're working with a very good partner. And all of these fine institutions are great partners as well. It is a pleasure and my honor to address you, both here in person and at home, and I wish you all a wonderful session.
Thank you, Keith, for your remarks, and truly it's a sense of flexibility and commitment from both students, faculty, institutions that had led us in this pandemic, the delivery of education, and it was unstoppable. We continued with the education, both from the delivery and also from the students' end. So thank you, Keith. So now my next question is for Sheridan, for Sunand. How Sheridan has been supporting students' well-being and mental health and coping with stress during the pandemic, taking into consideration different cultural contexts. Thank you.
I gotta lower the mic here, or I need a stool. Just on behalf of Sheridan College, just thank you very much for the organizers, the CGI, for having us here. And most importantly, to the students who made it here, congratulations for your commitment to this beautiful event. So thank you for the question, Prashant. I think when it came down to the pandemic, addressing mental health is one thing, but understanding the source of stress for our students is another thing. So many of our students couldn't work, had to have reduced hours during the pandemic, so we understood that finances was a big stress for our students. And finances contribute to stress, and we wanted to try to support that. During the pandemic, we provided $2.2 million in an emergency bursary to our students, of which over half went to international students because they were not eligible for CERB benefits. We made a commitment to ensure that our students had money for that extra month of rent or food that they couldn't pay for. When I talk about stress, food, that is so important. All of our students in the back know when rent is too high or when they're not making enough money, the first thing that they do is compromise on the food they eat. We recognized that during the pandemic, and what my colleagues have said here is some of the things we learned in the pandemic have only taught us how to be better and do better now. One of the things we did is partner with a local mandir, the Hindu Heritage Center, and a Seva organization. We had a volunteer group who cooked, packed, and delivered over 2,000 hot meals during the first wave of the pandemic in the winter to our students' doors. The other thing we did is to find other ways to feed our students. I ask your students to please write this down. The name is Sai Dum Food Bank. Sai Dum Food Bank. We've been partnering with Sai Dum Food Bank since the pandemic to present, and what we do is ensure that students get 8 weeks free food hampers every 8 weeks. Dal, rice, oil, atta, Maggie, can't forget Maggie, right? Ketchup. The reason I tell you folks to write down this food bank is because they are working with some of your schools, and if not, they have delivery out to the community very often. So again, take advantage of the Sai Dum Food Bank program. If we look specifically at the mental health support, Mr. Ness mentioned it. We also participated in the Keep Me Safe app, which provided cultural and linguistic mental health support to our students real time. Regardless where you were studying, you received real-time support. I think another thing, I'm glad to hear some chatter in the back because I have another one for you folks to write down. Students, please write down SOCH Mental Health. SOCH, S-O-C-H. Sheridan College partnered with SOCH Mental Health and the Center of Innovation for Campus Mental Health to create the Pardesi project. For those of you who don't know what the term Pardesi means, it means foreigner. And many of the things that our colleagues have been speaking about here, we addressed in the Pardesi project. We created 6 videos with a beautiful filmmaker, which hired international students to speak about 6 major topics related to mental health. Our students don't have the mental health literacy that all of us have. They don't know the language. They can't recognize the signs and symptoms. These videos are in Punjabi, Hindi, and Urdu and address things like suicide awareness, depression, understanding mental health. Each and every one of you, please write down SOCH Mental Health and access that because it is free for every college to use and it is posted on that website and we encourage you to please take a look at those. Outside of that, I mean, what all of our beautiful colleagues here have on the stage, which many of you do not take advantage of, are our health centers, are our counselors, are our peers. All of us offer these amazing services and we just encourage you to come through the door because we're there to support you. Many of these happened virtually during the pandemic and have continued to both be virtual and in person. Last but not least, I'm not going to ignore the table in the front here. I'm going to speak directly to the table in the front here. When the doors closed, we know that you saw increased traffic in the community. What the pandemic taught us is that it's not a competition. We are in this together. And what we did with many organizations, I see PCH in-house, I see BMG here, we partnered with many religious and cultural community organizations. Because frankly, I don't care if you come to get support from us or them, as long as you're getting support. So it was very important for us to make sure that our community organizations know that we have financial support, food support, legal support, housing support, safety support, so on and so forth, so that we can make sure that there is a free flow of a referral system of our students who can get support from both areas. So to you folks up front, I just want to say thank you. The very last thing I'd like to say is thanks to our student government. They have provided over $110,000 in grocery cards from the pandemic to present. Any student who meets with an advisor, if you're online here, any Sheridan student who meets with an advisor who says they have food insecurity, you will be provided electronic gift cards to be able to purchase food. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunant. Very well spoken, and also the amazing partnerships you have done with the community and the support you are giving it to the international students is really incredible. And once again, thank you. So now this is my last question for in-person participants. So this question is for University of Toronto to Emily. Emily, as India is a diverse country with 28 states and 8 union territories, with 23 nationally recognized languages spoken, how do you maintain the diversity of India at the University of Toronto?
Good evening. My goal is to keep my remarks short because I have a copy of the itinerary, and the next item after this is entertainment. So I have no doubt that you're probably looking forward to the entertainment as well as you're probably eagerly awaiting your meals. So thank you very much for this question. And I'm going to try and also defer to quite a bit of information that may be helpful for all of you. I appreciate that many of you are representing multiple institutions here this evening. I wanted to start by echoing my colleagues' sentiments by congratulating you on your post-secondary journeys. Congratulations to those of you that may be studying for the first time in Canada. Congratulations to those of you that may have started your studies internationally and finally made your way to Canada. And congratulations to those of you that are joining us virtually this evening. So by way of this question, which is really speaking to how each of our institutions maintain diversity from India, I'm going to share a few remarks, which are that at the University of Toronto, we're very proud of the fact that across our 3 campuses, we have approximately 30% international students. The second largest source country for our international students, and I would venture to say this is likely a very similar statistic for most of my panelists here, are from India. We are all deeply invested and proud of the work that our colleagues in student recruitment and admissions have done in the lead up to you being able to join us here in Canada. In most instances, many of us have representatives in India who work quite tirelessly to travel across all of those states and territories and represent opportunities that are available to students at the post-secondary level in Canada. Congratulations to those of you that have done that research, that are now here, that have likely engaged with those representatives in country and made the decision to come and study in Canada. At the time that you're engaging with our recruiters, you probably heard a lot about the portability of your degrees, and I'm here to echo that you've made an excellent decision in deciding to come and study post-secondary studies in the Canadian market. Your Ontario College credentials, your university degrees will be well received across all of those regions in India as well as globally. Speaking specifically about the University of Toronto, we're incredibly proud of the fact that we are a top 20 university in the world. Thank you. And we're also incredibly proud of the work that we're doing in partnership with India's top institutions in the world. We regularly partner with leading global institutions, including a number of institutions across India, in the fields of research and entrepreneurship. In 2018, we were delighted to announce that University of Toronto would be opening a center in India called the University of Toronto Centre India in Mumbai. And although that center is located in Mumbai, the entrepreneurship and the research that is happening in that particular center has the goal of drawing on leading academics and leading entrepreneurs, not only from Canada, but also from across India, and looking at research issues that are specific to India. We're particularly proud of that particular initiative, and we invite you to continue to join us as we embark on that journey. Furthermore, your studies here in Ontario, I know a number of you here are representing Ontario colleges, may eventually include post-secondary stops or destinations at further universities in Canada. Part of your current studies may also include some of the exciting joint programs that we also offer across our university. We're very proud at the University of Toronto to have a number of programs that are built in conjunction with some of our Ontario College partners that include Centennial College, Sheridan College, that are really focused on not only delivering high-quality research-based university degrees, but that are also then partnering with the incredibly diverse and applicable Ontario University studies, where you're gaining even further hands-on experiences in your journey here. I'm going to close things out by just really encouraging you to reflect on some of the general information that's been shared this evening. Many of the initiatives that have been singled out by each of my panelists, you will certainly and undoubtedly find echoed across each of our campuses. Whether that's engaging in something like peer mentorships, leaning into cultural festivals and the celebration of many cultures, or whether that's taking advantage of resources that are typically there and available to you as an international student that include engaging in international student support around questions that may pertain to your study permits, or whether that's trying to find your global fluency and your comprehension of Canadian cultural differences as you're making that transition from India. Lastly, just want to say once again, congratulations, and thank you so much for the time this evening. Back to the originating question, we most certainly hope that part of your journey here in Canada will also eventually include becoming representatives of your institutions as alumni and taking this information and this experience and these recruitment efforts back to all of those provinces and territories across India. Sorry, I said provinces, how Canadian of me. States and territories back to India to continue our efforts to build out those relationships, whether in research, entrepreneurship, or in supporting students who are actively looking to engage in post-secondary opportunities in Canada across the University of Toronto as well as across our Ontario college system and other universities as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily, for your remarks and enlightening all of us for University of Toronto's engagement in India and your approach to Indian students and to maintain the diversity by offering variety of services to students. So now we have two participants who are participating virtually, and they have sent us their recorded message. So firstly, the question to them is, I will just speak for the benefit of audience. This question is for Confederation College. It has been more than 2 years since we are in the COVID era. How has been students' experience at Confederation with online versus on-campus learning?
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Kelly Orozco. I am the Manager of International Recruitment here at Confederation College. We're here to answer the question about the student experience during COVID-19. However, not having been an international student during COVID, I've asked two colleagues who actually started their experience at Confederation College during COVID as students. So we are all going to answer this question for you. So from my point of view, what I've noticed with international students during COVID and coming out of COVID, I could say, it was obviously mostly a difficult time, a challenging time for sure. The biggest thing being loneliness and social isolation, not being able to connect with each other in person, definitely had some long-lasting impacts. However, the one pro I would say of COVID-19 was that it did allow us to become more adaptable and flexible and resilient in terms of how we deliver programs. So this summer, when the study permit delays happened, it meant that we were actually able to adjust some schedules and students were able to start online or in hybrid and not miss a full semester. So that is one good thing that came out of COVID. Sukhjit, what do you think?
So, hello everyone, my name is Sukhjit Singh. I'm International Support Officer at Confederation College. So I graduated from Confederation College last year. So I completed my full program in online mode only. So I started in January last year, but I traveled in February. So it did give me an opportunity to start my studies without being physically present in Canada. So that was a positive for me. And another thing is that it's very easy to attend classes It's very easy to attend online classes with flexible class schedules. If you have one class in the morning, one in the evening, you can just log in and attend your classes. But yeah, and you can save the travel time as well. So it's easier to balance your studies and work because you are not wasting any time on traveling to college and going back home. But as an employee as well, I did feel that it was not easy to convince students to start offline classes. I'm not sure why it was that I heard from a lot of students that they want to study offline, but yeah, when it came to offline classes, it was not easy to convince students to start studies offline. We used to get a lot of emails that please change our class delivery to online mode. So yeah, I think it is gonna stay forever. Online meetings and online classes, those are gonna preferred over offline classes. That's what I believe. That's what my personal opinion is. Thank you.
Sophia, what do you think?
So, hello everyone, my name is Sobia and I work in marketing here at the International Office for Confederation College. Personally, I started my classes in September 2019, which was pre-COVID. So I got almost a year of in-person classes and then we went online. I do like the fact that the online classes helped me to continue my studies and finish my classes and graduate so that I can go on and find a job, and I got this amazing job over here at the college. But I personally feel that my in-person classes helped me to connect with my fellow classmates and my professors more, and that was not the case when we studied virtually. Till now, I'm still more in connection with my professors who taught me in person than my professors who taught me just online. So that's my point of view, but yeah, I do think online is a good thing so that students can continue their classes online due to COVID and other reasons, but yeah, it does take away some of the student experience.
Yeah, so those are our thoughts. I hope you're having a great discussion there in Toronto. Thank you so much for including us here in Thunder Bay, and we wish you well. You're welcome to visit anytime. Bye. Thanks.
Thank you to the colleagues from Confederation College. So we will just move to the next question, which is again, the participant has sent us a recorded message, and this is for Conestoga College. How does Conestoga support international students in finding employment in their field of study in Canada?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Trish Weigel-Green, Associate Vice President of Student Affairs at Conestoga College. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to join you in person, but I'm very pleased to be able to share this video with you. I'm actually filming this in our beautiful library at our Dune campus in Kitchener. At Conestoga, we have this fall about 28,000 students spread over 7 campuses. I mention that because I've been asked to talk about international students and how we support our students in finding employment in their field of study, and mentioning that we have so many campuses is really key, in that we want to make sure that regardless of where a student is studying, we have supports at every campus as well as virtually. So I'll talk a little bit about that. Probably 2 facets of what we do at Conestoga and that we're really proud of, and that I'm sure you would find at other colleges and universities as well in Ontario, is one aspect is experiential learning. And so really define that as the kind of work experiences that you can gain from within your program of study. So we really pride ourselves on making sure that we have as many of those kinds of opportunities in as many of our programs as possible. So what that really is going to mean for you is when you're part of the program, you are going and working in an environment that's related to your program, and it's supported in the curriculum. So you get graded for that, and we've got lots of folks in our team as well as the faculty that are building really great experiences that students can participate in through placement and also through co-op program. So that's one part of it, the experiential learning part that we really try and build out. The other part, I'll say, is connected to the curriculum, but is more co-curricular, so a support that happens outside of classes. And that's really through our career and employment services. And so those are available to every student at any point during their time with us at Conestoga. And actually recently, we've launched a new initiative where when our students graduate, we will still continue to support their career and employment journey, because we know that it doesn't end once you leave Conestoga. So our career and employment advisors will meet with students and do some of the things that you would think are quite typical in terms of resume review and interview skills and interview prep and that kind of thing. We also offer lots of job fairs where we can connect students with employers that we know are great employers of our students and graduates. But some things that we also will explore with students that I think are really key to do early, and particularly for international students as you're exploring the Canadian work landscape. And That's really helping students understand their values, their interests, their personalities, and their whole life experiences. So it's not just your field of study, it's also all of the other things from your life that you bring to the Canadian environment and the Canadian employment landscape. So how do we help you look at all of those things and bring them together to help create a package that really represents you well as you go out and look for employment? The other thing is around career pathways. So particularly coming from another place in the world, the Canadian employment landscape might look a little bit different. So for any field of study that you might be exploring, there could be hundreds of possible job opportunities that you might not have considered were even possible for you. So a key thing that the career advisors can do is look at your field of study, look at your interests, and help expand the job possibilities for you. And then help you put together that great e-portfolio, that LinkedIn profile, the CV, to really help you make the connections with the right kind of employers to further explore that. So that covers the basics. There's so much more that I could talk about and that we do, but I guess if there are any key takeaways, it's really connect with those folks at your institution that can help you do those things, do that early, and really take advantage of the great resources that certainly at Conestoga we have to offer students and that likely you find at your institution of choice as well. So thanks very much for including me. Have a great evening.
So thank you. That was the message from Conestoga, Trish, sharing all the insights, how they are supporting international students through experiential learning opportunities in their program and also through their career services departments in finding international student jobs in the field of their study. So with this, our panel discussion is coming to an end. And on behalf of Consulate General of India, International Youth, and everyone here, and most importantly, our international students, I would like to thank all the panelists for sparing their valuable time and sharing their thoughts with all of us today. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Prashant, and panel members. That was quite informative, and judging from the laughter, I was hoping to get a few laughs, but I did not. Sorry, can we take a picture of all the panel members on stage? No. Okay. Two things I discovered important to international students. I heard double and Maggie. Now, for those of you that don't know what Maggie is, Maggie's like a spicy ketchup type sauce. And our international students with limited ingredients have managed to do a lot of jugaad with Maggie to make that food super delicious. A double gets a laugh, but that does not. So thank you, Prashant, for that. What I'm going to do in the interest of time is skip a few videos, put them towards dinner. As you can tell, the kitchen has been told to bring the dinner out. It'll be ready soon. Just be patient. We have a few more speakers that you need to hear from. So at this point, I would like to invite Mr. Praveen Varkey, who is the President and CEO of Ontario Heroes, to say a few words.
Hi, good evening to all. It's an honor and pleasure to be here with you today. Sincere gratitude to Consulate General of India, Toronto, Jarin Raj and Prashant Srivastava from Seneca College. I just want to quickly run, I know we don't have much time to go, but just want to quickly run.
Ontario Heroes Health and Social Services is a registered not-for-profit organization built on the traditional Canadian values of volunteerism and the spirit of giving. Started in 2020, Ontario Heroes currently has 140+ volunteers. Our care is in 26 areas and the leadership team is 70+ volunteer leaders. We strongly believe in diversity, equity, inclusiveness, and excellence beyond borders. All our programs are aligned to reflect this spirit of collaboration and goodwill. What do? We complement the healthcare system by providing system navigation, service coordination, referrals and linkages, liaising with public healthcare providers, primary care physicians, and community service providers to optimize care delivery. Ontario Heroes Community Portal provides a platform for knowledge sharing, professional networking, and service requests. We offer programs like mentorship, French learning, and international programs. Details of our campaigns for blood donation, home health equipment mobilization, and food drive can be found on our web portal. Services like counseling, mental health, addiction, child, adolescent and family, international student and parent helpline, newcomer settlement, yoga, mindfulness and meditation, medical repatriation, obesity support are some of the services offered at Ontario Heroes. Advocacy Center, international programs, awards and scholarships, groups, discussion forums on important topics, and job dashboard for job seekers and recruiters are offered on the portal. Do you wish to join Ontario Heroes as a volunteer, mentor, or supporter? Visit www.ontarioheroes.ca for more details.
That's a short video about an organization called Ontario Heroes. It's a volunteer-driven organization. We are federally registered, and we modeled a multidisciplinary team-based professional volunteering platform. So just want to quickly run. We are bound by the Personal Health Information and Privacy Law, and we offer a very unique case management and system navigation service coordination, especially for our international students. And we offer all the services free of cost. We are not funded. We are a volunteer-driven organization, but we offer the services zero cost and without any systemic barriers, no wait time, and all the services are available above mentioned. And we are founded in 2020 with 120 volunteers from diverse ethnic and professional background. Right now, we have volunteers from 30 professional background, and I will go through the list later. And currently, we have 250 volunteers involved in our various activities. Especially, we have a dedicated team for our international student support, and we managed or supported thousands of students in terms of mental health, addiction, counseling, job linkages, and motor vehicle accident, domestic violence victim, and many more. And we contributed more than 16,000 hours of professional consultation. So it's all pro bono basis. There is no fees for any of our services. It's accessible to the newcomers and all the international students over here. And we have a beautiful leadership team, 73 members on team. And we run 4 programs, 15 services, and 3 campaigns. And we expanded our services to Alberta province in February 2022. Sorry about the lag. So just want to be this is our volunteer profiles with the areas of expertise. We have 30 disciplines on board, including doctors, engineers, social workers, lawyers, IT professionals, psychologists, social workers, and dentists, pharmacists. So we have professionals on board to support the international students in terms of mentorship, career guidance, job linkages, housing support, immigration, and free legal consultation. So all these professionals are available for a pro bono basis consultation. And the previous speaker said this is a community mentorship program. So you are welcome to use the international students, those who are here. They need academic or career guidance, so job linkages or housing support, or volunteers are available, okay? And privacy policy, Ontario Heroes comply with Ontario's Privacy and Protection Act, and we make sure all the information you shared with us confidential, and we don't disclose or share any information to any third party without your consent. Okay. So I'll just quickly skip all this. So we have a very diversified leadership team. We have members from diverse cultural background, Canadians, Jamaicans, Europeans, and Filipinos, and Indians. They all volunteer with us. So one of the speakers said about leadership opportunities. So our international students, you're the future leaders. You're welcome to join us. You can either join as a member or a volunteer or a member, and there's a great opportunity to come for the leadership. And also we have a beautiful operations team. So we have a lawyer on board, we have healthcare workers, allied health, social workers, occupational therapy, physio, pharmacists. So we have a beautiful operations team on board, and they coordinate our activities across Canada. Also, there's a great opportunity for international students. Volunteering is one of the great opportunity to network, meet new friends, and also get mentorship. So there's a great opportunity, those who are looking for volunteer opportunity to expand your network, make friendship and mentorship, job linkages. You're most welcome to explore the opportunities. And we do have 3 programs, and we do campaigns, and we have 15 services. And I just want to highlight the International Student and Parent Helpline. So under this program, we do offer consultation and services, exclusively counseling individual, family, career guidance, and academic counseling, and mentorship in 30 areas, and also housing and job linkages and student placements. Currently, we have students from Sheridan College, Centennial, and 2 other colleges in Toronto. And also, we deal with homesickness and separation, domestic violence issues, along with the relationship issues, mental health, addiction support services. We have a great resource. He's a social worker from Canadian Mental Health Association, Peel region, a crisis worker. He's one of our social worker giving free consultation to our international students. And also we have a lawyer available, free consultation, and also we have an immigration advisor on board. And we do a lot of crisis intervention support. We get calls all the time, motor vehicle accident victims, domestic violence victims, and also admitted in hospital with a critical illness and attempted suicide, or people with active suicide. So we do the system navigation in a better way to support our international society and international students especially, and also medical repatriation, and also assistance with pregnant students. So we have a lot of cases lately, especially during the pandemic time. They're looking for midwifery, gynecology consult, and also assistance for all kind of diagnostics. So we were able to effectively navigate and support them. And also the parents of international students can reach us out. We have a helpline available. And thank you so much once again, the organizers, providing us a wonderful opportunity to do the presentation. And we are looking for volunteers, actively looking. You can join us, log on to our website, www.ontarioheroes.ca, or you can download our mobile application to connect with us. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Praveen. That was good information. I think the last couple of slides went a little bit fast, but we can always share those with you. I'd like to call Mr. Harinder Sahota, who's the manager of the addiction program at Punjabi Community Health Services.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for invitation on this wonderful evening. So I'm Harinder, I'm from Punjabi Community Health Services. I'm working with this organization from last 10 years. So Punjabi Community Health Services is a We did land acknowledgement earlier, so I'll skip this. So Punjabi Community Health Services is a pioneer charitable organization working in the field addiction, mental health, geriatric, and social, seniors, geriatrics, for women and children from last 30 years. So what we do here, so we have under health, we do provide services in addiction and mental health. And under addiction and mental health, basically we see the mental health issues, identify their triggers and the root causes. So we have, although we have health, settlement and social services, but we are providing services very thoroughly. This is our model of integrated holistic services model, delivery model. We have trained more than 80 staff, clinical and also the sports staff. We do provide services like from when the calls come from intake to transition, we see all these components very thoroughly. How to access the services is pretty simple. So anybody can call. We are working with a different partner. We are working with the doctors, correctional services, police, and also from the family. Anybody can call and get these services. So under this model, basically what we are providing, we see all demographics, the underlying issues, stressors, finance. So we do have that mechanism to connect with the appropriate resources as per their needs. Although it's a stress issue, mental health, domestic violence, addiction, and now seeing these are some component of settlement program. So eligibility criteria is 16 plus and anybody can get services. So although it's for newcomer, residents, refugees, so there are all information is on our website and anybody can get these services. So these are some components for settlement program. And the similar, we do have addiction program. Addiction is basically, it's 9 component we are covering under this. It's early interventions, prevention, during treatment and after recovery and aftercare program. We do all provide these services. So under mental health, so one thing is we taking very consideration, these all services are, we are taking privacy and confidentiality issues. If someone don't want to share their information, we keep it confidential and we do provide services in both in a hybrid model, virtually and also in person, anybody can. So during COVID, so we see a lot of mental health and other issues, stress issues that increase. So for special, like we see some stress issue within the international student. For that, we started a rapid response specifically for mental health and addiction issues. The response is within 2 hours we respond back if we get any call and if they make the eligibility. So basically this is post-discharge from hospitals, and also if somebody want to discuss their issue in confidential manner, we provide these services. So especially to prevent suicides, we have seen in the graph in the last couple of years, the suicides and mental health stress has increased so much. So supporting international student, we are supporting three elements. One, if there's any stress issues, we do provide counseling, supportive counseling. We are navigating them for their career growth, and we do have those resources to connect with the community resources as well. The second part is if somebody wants to pursue their career, we do provide the placement opportunity to all international students if they require some. Under addiction, mental health, geriatric, we have those programs, so we have that capacity, and trained staff can mentor properly, and we do have some newcomer connection program for these students as well. And also, like from their career growth, for their settlement, like from resume writing, connecting them the appropriate resources, also providing them opportunity if there's any employment within the organization or outside resources. We have career counselors as well. So how to access the service? Rapid response is pretty quick. We work 7 days in a week, 9 to 5. And this is the phone number, and you can get this information from our website. The idea behind is to provide quick services, specifically when we say holistic model. The thing is, we have trained staff, at least our staff, they can speak more than 10 languages. It's not only now, when we started, it's a South Asian domain, we were serving that, but now we serve diverse community. Anybody can access these services. So I keep this, my presentation very short, keeping in mind the time. And this is, so when the call comes, this is the thing that we do basic assessment, see their needs, connecting them within or outside according to their needs. And we do follow up. We are closely working with hospitals, we are closely working with probation officers, we are closely working with lawyers, and sometimes some immigration, so detention centers, there are some issues if they develop sometimes person due to their stress in their life. So we have concrete plan like where we can, it's basically person-centered, but we also provide services to the families also. So this is pretty much, thank you very much for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you for that. If I can call Ms. Anupama Sharma of Suno on stage to talk about a very important service that complements everything else that you've seen.
Hi everyone, can I get everyone's attention? We're going to be really quick. I know everyone's hungry and we've been talking about all these certain things, but we're going to make this really quick. My name is Anu, this is Guneet. We're a part of an organization called Suno. Guneet is actually an international student that we've trained to become a peer mentor. I don't want to be a face of the organization, I'd like the students to be the face of this organization. We're going to go really quickly so you can see our website. I do want to mention that we actually have staff in India that's working with schools there prior to the students even doing their IELTS to prepare them for what they're going to expect once they come here.
Being an international student myself, I feel very happy to be here sharing this opportunity with all of you and with Anu. I started my education when COVID had just hit. I was desperately looking for co-op, and that's how I met Anu on LinkedIn, and since then the story began. The networking available on different social media is so powerful that we can touch so many lives. And as Anu mentioned rightly, we are reaching out to students even when they're in India to let them know what reality in Canada looks like. I'm so happy that you're all here to be more aware on the kind of resources that are available in colleges and in the community to help others and yourself to be in a better position to be more successful and work on your well-being.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well spoken, nice and concise. I like that. Good information. We will share the website with you. Next, I'd like to call on Mr. Randall Arsenault, who did send a video, but he asked to say a couple of words. I'm sure he's famous. A lot of you have seen his social media posts, but I'd like to call him on stage, please.
Hey folks, I'm the last person. Nobody wants to hear the last person, but here I am. The Consulate General, I had a few things to say. The Consulate General made some very, very good points regarding some of the death and accident cases, driving, drowning, suicides, and stabbing. She forgot the most common one, which is robberies. And listen, I'm being very serious about this. I wouldn't say it's an epidemic, but international students are often targeted by thieves for robbery, especially with winter season coming up. And the reason why it's international students is because a lot of international students can be very timid, and they don't want to get in anybody's way. And a lot of times they're walking down the street with looking at their phone or using their electronics, not making a big scene, and somebody will come up behind them, they'll grab their stuff, they'll run off. And with international students, most robberies do not go reported. They're unreported because it's going to affect so many, they think it might affect the immigration process, which is not true. So very, very important. I didn't think I was going to be here, so I made a video. They'll play the video. I'm the last person. I'm sorry. Have a fantastic night. I love to be here. Be safe.
Hey folks, Randy Arsenault here, also known as Officer Arsenault on various social media platforms. I manage the Indigenous Spear Fund, sponsored by Native Child and Family Services of Toronto. I was a Toronto police officer for over 20 years, and now I'm an Ontario Human Rights Commissioner, which is something I'm very proud of. I just want to say thank you for coming, thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation, and thank you for having me. It's quite an honor, I have to say. I was asked to come and speak on a variety of different topics. I don't know if I'm going to make it there in person, so I wanted to make this video just in case, but I was asked to speak on a variety of different topics and give a little bit of advice. And the first thing that came to mind regarding international students is something that I wouldn't say is just for international students, it's for anybody traveling anywhere, whether you plan on staying temporary or permanent. It's to develop a strong circle of friends and community contacts. And I don't mean your community, I mean the community, our community. And I'll give a kind of a quick example about this. One of my dear friends is Jagnahit Singh. I do quite a bit of videos with them. Some of them are ridiculous, some of them are entertaining, and some of them are informative. People are constantly asking how we came to know each other, how we became friends, and it's because of Jagnahit. He was not afraid to step outside of his comfort zone, and neither was I. But we weren't afraid to step outside our comfort zone and come up with something together. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I want to talk about a very important resource called 311. Okay, it's a phone number from any phone provider. You dial 311. It's also an app, okay, if you need any sort of information. I'm going to read quickly what it is. It provides residents, businesses, and visitors with easy access to non-emergency services, city services, and information, okay? If you have a question about anything at all that you're not sure of, then I would invite you to call 311 and ask those questions, or download the app and ask those questions. Services are provided in over 180 languages, so I'm fairly certain you'll get the help you need. And you could, I'll give an example again, is perhaps you feel that there's something, you're renting a place and you need some assistance. Maybe you're having some problems with your landlord. Maybe there's something not quite right. You don't know what it is, but you just need a little bit of advice. Fraud and scams are very, very prevalent with newcomers, and I would say that often people will take advantage of the fact that you might not have a strong support base, and people will take advantage of that in a variety of different ways. I'm just giving the landlord and tenants, I'm giving that as an example. However, there are many, many more fairly honest and just very, very decent landlords. But if you're not sure about something, you don't want to ask your landlord, and you're not sure it's a police issue, then call 311. If it is a police issue, they may refer you to the police, whether it's the non-emergency number. If you feel you have an emergency, call 911. Whatever, if you're not sure if it's an emergency, call 911, let somebody else make that determination, okay? But otherwise, feel free to call 311. It's a fantastic resource. And I just want to say a little bit of advice is, I've seen some of the promotional material from other countries when they talk about Canada, and they're always showing these mountains and these beautiful rivers and streams and animals and beavers and moose and everything else. I just want to say, take the time, if you're able to, explore the country. Quite often, I've spoken to a lot of international students who arrive in Canada and they stay within a city they stay within the city that their school is located in, and they may have been here for a couple of years and they've never explored Canada. They've never gone within 100 kilometers. And I know it's not possible for everybody to do so, but if you're able to, by developing a strong circle of friends and community members, you might find that some people would love to take you out on an adventure. But see if you can explore this country and see how beautiful it really is and how friendly the people are. That would be some advice if you're able to. Thank you very much. I won't take up any more of your time. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please get in contact with me somehow. And it's a pleasure to speak to you. Welcome. All the best to you. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Arsenault, in person and on video. Very good message, and I agree, you should explore this country from coast to coast if you can. I should tell you, my daughter just texted me half hour ago, says, by the way, Maggie is not a ketchup that's spicy. And funny, her name is actually Maggie. So I looked it up. In fact, it is noodles, but there is a sauce called Maggie. Look it up. And dinner is almost ready, and I know I should thank you for your patience, but I think many of you have been to Indian weddings before. Dinner is never on time, correct? So we literally just have one more speaker who is going to close all this off, and it's Mr. Jaren Raj. So I'd like to call Jaren. I'd like to... There he is. I'm not controlling it. So Jaren is the visionary behind International Youth Canada. He has served the community of international students for many years. I've personally witnessed it. It's one of the things that got me involved in this, just seeing with the passion that he serves people. He serves with selflessness and altruistic actions. Jaren is a true social entrepreneur and is passionate about the work he does. Jaren?
Thank you, Ash. I promise I won't take more than 3-4 minutes. Thank you. What a great group of speakers. What you have experienced today is a result of a great teamwork. Thanks to everyone who helped in making this event this successful. I was in your shoes 8 years back because I also came as a student, right, from India. I was anxious, confused about overcoming my academic struggles, then my part-time job to repay my huge bank loan, then supporting my family. Actually, my mother is here, somewhere there. So I was so much, I went through all those things that, but one thing, my 2 cents for the day, I was not reluctant to knock at any door to get the right help which I needed. So look around you. There is help everywhere. As you can see, colleges, Consulate, various governments, you heard all those, right? MPs, MPPs, mayors, ministers, community organizations, we have a priest here, then, as well as our friends, citizens, there are help everywhere. So we just need to ask them, because no one is going to know that we are going through a depression or we are sad, because people look at our face, we all are smiling, that's what they see, but we might be going through depression or we might be in some. So please tell your friends or please ask for help. The whole idea of this program was to introduce to all these levels of helps, right? From all these levels. So let's not hesitate to ask for support and get the right mentorship to be successful here in Canada. To be successful, definitely we need, mentors in all these angles, financial, spiritual, academic, career-wise. We should actually find right mentors. So these are the people in this front row. Please talk with them in the next, maybe in the dinner time, we have like time, right? So talk with them and ask them how they reached there and ask for their, advice and mentorship. So in last 4 years, I had an opportunity to connect with thousands of students who needed the guidance to support or to navigate through this journey, right? The student and PR to those things, especially during COVID. So I learned a lot about their needs and how colleges or institutions can respond to these challenges. I'm sure we can do much more if we all stand together and work together. That's the idea behind International Youth. So let's listen and learn, also develop some strategies which could better the prospects of thousands of students who are landing in every week in Canada. In this journey, International Youth will partner with as many organizations which will support international students like you, like me. So all these, right? Academic institutions, government agencies, diplomatic missions, businesses, community groups, student federations. So through these partnerships, International Youth will be hosting many more sessions as these ones, covering several important topics. We are also planning a mentoring portal, family and social connection, conferences and advocacy. So thank you for the Consulate General of India, especially Apurva ji. She left, but for providing us an opportunity to bring all the students under one umbrella. Apurva ji's inspiring presence is always appreciated. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So thank you, Shubhan ji, Hidesh ji, as well as Dheeraj ji, and everyone who works in the Consulate General of India office for your dedicated and support, because to put an event like this, it needs so much, cooperation and so much effort. So definitely we thank CG office. And also thank you to all these wonderful speakers, community and faith groups, and all the participants staying here, as well as who are watching us online. We have like so many hundreds of people watching us online. So thank you. Thank you. And also, I would like to thank International Youth Canada Board for their guidance, wisdom, and hard work and confidence to do this event. Special thanks to Prashant Srivatsava and Ash Patel for moderating and putting together this event. Also to Jose Verghese. You three provided so much direction and guidance to getting all these things done. So thank you. Next is thank you to all our volunteers, and special thanks to you who took time to come here. So before we close the program, soon after closing we will go for dinner, and we have our DJ who is ready. So what I did is, whenever someone actually get out from the area, right, I actually asked them, which part of India are you from? Do you have any sessions for DJ? Talk with this DJ and tell 1 or 2 songs. So DJ is ready with all these diverse songs. So it will happen maybe after like in 30 minutes. But one more thing too, because when I was outside, when the IRCC person left from the stage, right, when he was outside, I saw at least 10, 15 people who are waiting there for his one-on-one consultation, right? And he actually patiently took each one. He took, let me talk with him first, and he advised him. So he talked to around like 10, 15 people. So the idea is that all these leaders, all these community groups, all are here. Talk with them in the next 1 hour because we are closing for dinner. Talk with them, take their advice, connect with them, and also take their pictures, So definitely that what we'll be doing when we close for dinner. But before that, before we close, can I request all the volunteers who actually helped in this event to come out to the stage? So let's take a picture and let's actually appreciate for their time and effort. So all the people, all the volunteers, so please come out to the stage. So all these people who actually help, all these are international students. So pretty much our idea is this event is by the students and for the students, right? If possible, I also would like to welcome Navjeet Singh, Windsor, because he drove all the way from Windsor. He is the president of Student Federation in St. Clair College. We had a few federation presidents too. Ritik, Seneca Student Federation, he left because he had a meeting. But all these people, they are the students, and they are the ones who designed, who implemented and coordinated this event. So everyone, please be on the stage. Thank you. So the organizers too, may I request the organizers, Prashant, Naga, the coordinators, right? Please, Shubhamji, Hideshji, Consulate officers too, please be there because you're also part of the organizing committee. So all the organizing committee and all the volunteers, please be on the stage. Let's take a picture and let's, Sorry, please don't go. We have one more picture. All the speakers and all the community leaders. So the front row is community leaders and speakers. Can you please join with them? Please. Yeah, maybe can they stand here, something like that? Yeah, please stand here. Let's take a picture. As you can see, we have a group, Ripson, then Rachel, Maria. We have so many people too who they are also volunteering, but they are supporting the media, so they cannot come in the picture, but thank you. So all the speakers too, please, speakers and community leaders, we are trying to, thank you. Hello, sorry, one more picture. That's you. You have to come, please. Let's take a group picture. So this group will stay. So can you please come? Sorry? The students, everyone who attended, please come over. You, because you made it happen. Please come over. So after this picture, we will close it off and we'll go for dinner. So please come forward. Let's take a picture together. After that, we will go for dinner together and talk with all these people, all these community leaders, all these speakers. Do networking. After that, we will rock the floor. Oh, Ritik?
No, it's just...
So everyone, please come, so that we can quickly finish. Ritik.
Keith as well.
Keith, please, yeah. Thank you.